उसमें से सेलेक्ट करके तो आपको पता लग जाएगा इंटरव्यू
लीजिए बराबर से।
सबसे बेस्ट।
शायद से गलती है इनका।
बस ज्वाइन पर मीटिंग आईडी और पासपोर्ट डाल दो जो आए थे ना मैसेज। उनको बताओ मीटिंग आईडी पास
है जुबिल है।
ज्वाइन आवाज के
सब करते हैं।
हो जाएगी। मैंने बोलेगा तो
अच्छा वैसे को हाँ वो
उधर चली गई।
हेलो। हेलो।
हेलो, ये देखो अभी भी आ रही। हेलो, देखो अभी भी आ रही। आप तो फिर इधर तो सब आएगी। हेलो, वो आ रही है सब, गूंज रही है। तो देखो गूंज रही है पक्का।
वो तो बाहर आ रही होगी आवाज। आ रही आवाज बाहर तो आपकी इसमें तो बंद कर देंगे अभी हाँ।
अब बोलो समझ में आएगा।
हेलो
मैडम इसको तो बंद करो। हाँ मोबाइल बंद करो, इसका करेगा। क्या है? क्या हो रहा है?
लीव बंद कर देती हूँ।
बोलो बोलो।
ये तो मैम प्लीज अपना माइक ऑन कीजिए और चेक कीजिए वॉइस क्लियर है या नहीं।
अब आ रही है आवाज सर?
यस आ रही है आ रही है।
इज इट वेरी क्लियर?
या क्लियर क्लियर।
ओके सर।
नीतू मैम नीतू मैम
यस
हाँ एक बार यस
हेलो
ठीक है यस हाँ मैम आपकी
सर ये मैं थोड़ा सा उधर कर सकती हूँ? पैर में लग रहा है। आ रही है आवाज ना? अब आपको प्रॉपर आ रही है ना?
हाँ
किसी को ऐसा तो नहीं है देयर इज अ ब्लरनेस और सम काइंड ऑफ अ वॉइस कट एनीवे?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है क्लियर है वॉइस क्लियर है मैम।
ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। हेलो सब, मेरे को तो कुछ आवाज ही नहीं आ रही। मेरी तो आवाज ही नहीं आ रही इसमें।
हेलो हेलो
कुछ नहीं।
आपको तो म्यूट कर रखा होगा।
म्यूट कर रखा है।
हेलो 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 1 2 3 माइक चेक
थोड़ा सा लाउड बोल सकते हैं सर?
1 2 3 हेलो 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 वॉइस क्लियर है क्या मेरा। हेलो
नहीं है सर, नहीं है।
अभी अभी हेलो 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 हेलो
नहीं होगा, ये जो प्रॉब्लम आ रही है
क्या हुआ?
सर वो उनको है कि सबको म्यूट वगैरह कैसे दे, जब सब बोलेंगे ना
तो मूड ऐसे हो रहा था।
हेलो
सिंगल की तरफ हेलो, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
एक मिनट तब वो म्यूट करना वापस करोगे ना। म्यूट करो, वो म्यूट करना था, आपको कब करोगे?
कोई जारी है सब बंद कर दीजिए।
हेलो
यस सर यस सर यस सर यस सर।
आकांक्षा मैम आवाज आ रही है?
सर आपको हेडफोन लीजिए।
सर शुभांग मुझे आवाज आ रही थी आपकी। हेलो
Shubhang, am I audible?
यस यस
आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर?
यस यस सर हाँ आ रही है आ रही है।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
चार्ज करना दो, चार्ज करना दो।
मैडम लैपटॉप ले जाओ।
नहीं जाओ कहीं नहीं मैडम, कहीं चार्ज
लगा दो सर।
मेरे को क्या है कि वो रहेगा नीतू की आवाज
उधर तो नहीं है? हाँ
नीतू को आप इनवाइट करोगे, नीतू को सुनाई देगी ना।
हाँ हाँ सर।
हटाया वो?
नहीं नहीं ये हटाया नहीं अभी।
नीतू मैम आवाज
आ
आ
रही
रही
है
है?
ना, आ रही है।
Yes,
मैम
ma'am.
अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को आप
हाँ,
पहले।
yes, ma'am.
मैडम को गई आवाज आपकी?
मैम आ रही है आवाज आपको?
Yes, ma'am.
मेरे को कुछ नहीं आ रही
नहीं आ रही
ना।
ये हटा दो।
हाँ हटा दो।
तो फिर नीतू को ये बोलो।
और
हेलो मैम,
Yes, ma'am.
नहीं आ रही।
अगर ब्लूटूथ देखो कर डिस्कनेक्ट है कनेक्ट।
देखो सर अब
नहीं इसमें देखो ना।
अरे आपने पहले किया था ना, वो तो चल रहा था ना उसी को रखते। बार-बार सुबह क्यों नया-नया कर रहे हैं? टाइम हो गया 1 o'clock। टाइम हो गया।
तो एक काम करो डायरेक्टली बोलो आप, ये हटा दो इसको, डायरेक्टली बोलो।
नो
वो
इशू।
नीतू को सुनाई देगा नहीं तो उसको यहाँ पे बिठा दो।
सर मुझे तो आ रही है मैडम की आवाज।
आ रही है?
Yes, ma'am.
सुन
जी मैम।
लैपटॉप कनेक्ट किया।
सर नमस्कार।
मैम आप सबके सब म्यूट कर दीजिएगा। आई एम स्टार्टिंग अबाउट टू स्टार्ट द प्रोग्राम।
हाँ सर।
काइंडली अनम्यूट एवरीवन। So should I start? Yes. Good afternoon to one and all. I welcome you all for one day online national webinar on standards and procedure for NAAC evaluation. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council NAAC conduct assessment and accreditation of higher educational institutes such as colleges, universities, or other educational institutions. Starting up with the program, now I would like to invite Dr. Neetu Shorgar ma'am, Head of the Department Chemistry, to give away welcome address. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Honorable Professor K.K. Dave, President, Pahir University, Guest of Honors and Distinguished Speakers, Dr. Devendra Kavade, Deputy Advisor NAAC, Professor V.N.R. Pillai, former Executive Director NAAC and former Chairman UGC, Professor R.S. Mali, former VC, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Professor Hemant Kothari, Dean PG Studies, Professor S.C. Ameta, Professor of Eminence, Professor Rameshwar Ameta, Dean Faculty of Science, and participants. I, Dr. Neetu Shorgar, on behalf of Pacific University, welcomes you all to one-day national webinar on standards and procedures for NAAC evaluation. As we all know that NAAC accreditation determines the quality of any educational institute in terms of faculty, research, infrastructure, etc., and gives confidence to students institute they are selecting going to provide them best service. We are pleased to have been registered for this webinar. I believe will be helpful to our participants improve upon their research activities that goals even.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for enlightening us with your words right from the onset of the webinar. The next that I would like to invite is Professor Hemant Kothari, Dean PG Studies, to express his views about ongoing and future research activities of the university. Sir.
A very good afternoon to our distinguished speakers and guests of
such as engineering, dentistry, management, commerce, hotel management, physical education, arts, science, pharmacy, computer science, education, etc. The university has also made remarkable progress and gained good reputation through its quality of publication and research. The university recently acquired a couple of patents in the field of computer and pharmacy, and there are few patents which are in pipeline. We have constantly endeavored towards promoting quality of research and its publication even by these scholars. And for this university has made strict guidelines for its scholars before submission of final thesis work of theirs, which includes mandatory publication of at least one research paper in science citation index journals. Today, university has scholars from across the country, including few international scholars, who are pursuing their doctoral research work in newer and the most upcoming fields, such as hydrogen production, and we are proud that our journal, Pacific Business Review International, is indexed with Web of Science. And our another journal, Unnati, is in UGC care list. Dear friends, there are not many things to speak about it. But towards the end, I would like to thank our patrons, especially our chairman, Shri Rahuji Agarwal, Registrar Sharatji Kothari, and our president, Professor K.K. Dave, for their constant support and motivation for successful organization of such events. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your in-depth knowledge with us. In continuation, I would like to invite Honorable Professor K.K. Dave, sir, President of our university, to grace the occasion with his words of blessings.
Honorable Chief Guest of Honor,
Dr. Devendra Kavade, Professor NAAC, Professor R.N. Mali, Professor Hemant Kothari, Professor S.C. Ameta, Professor Rameshwar Ameta, and all dignitaries, faculty members, this is the occasion. This is the right occasion, we can say, in the right time. If we talk about the whole Rajasthan, where we have 89 private universities and very few have NAAC accreditation. So this is the right time where we are talking about NAAC accreditations. And I'm thankful to SC Amita Saab and Hemant Kothari Saab that who has taken these initiatives and would like to add and give this knowledge to everyone so that we can think about it. We can think about our NAAC implementation. Pacific University is going for NAAC accreditations very soon, and we are preparing for it. And this particular today's webinar will help a lot to all of us. We will learn a lot by this session, and I know that these learned speakers will let us know that how to implement NAAC in our university. NAAC is nothing. NAAC is just a mirror where we can see that where we are having lacuna. We can develop this, and we should not afraid from NAAC particularly, because it is showing that there are a lot of chances for improvement, and we should always ready for all kind of improvement. All get accredited by NAAC. And though we are on universities organizing, but I know that the efforts done by Hemant sir and it's a laurel of speakers were here. Once again, I would like to welcome all the speakers, and I want to request to every participant.
Thank you, sir, for bestowing your blessings on us. Now, Professor Rameshwar Amita, sir, Dean, Faculty of Science, would introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Devendra Kavre, sir.
Thanks. I first.
This is very useful session for all of us, and we should enlighten knowledge. Thank you.
Our distinguished to introduce Dr. Devendra Kavre. He is a deputy advisor at the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bengaluru, since 2017. Dr. Kavre worked as a joint secretary of University Grants Commission and has 15 years of administrative experience. He has been a contributor in policy making for the process of NAAC and coordinated in the framework of University Manual He has completed 2 major research projects and published 6 books in commercial management. Dr. Kavre has published 120 research papers in the journals of national and international repute and several articles
Sir, Devendra Kavre, sir. May I request Devendra Kavre, sir, to kindly share his views with us? Devendra Kavre, sir.
हेलो हाँ सर ओके ओके थैंक यू यस सर
Can you hear me? No, no, in.
Yes, sir. Your voice is clear, sir.
Yes, thank you.
So kindly continue, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Screen is on, sir. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, so nice of you.
Yes, sir, you are
Namaste
audible.
to everybody. Namaste. Namaste to all stakeholders from this very good Pacific University, prestigious university, the coordinator of this program, the chairperson, the speakers, Pillai sir, Mali sir, and the good organizers. It's my privilege to speak in front of you. And I think so it's an God's blessing also, because just before 15, 20 minutes before I was in hospital with some reason. I was in hospital since 8 o'clock in the morning, and some checkup and all that, some emergency was there. So it's God's grace that at the right time I have come out in an entry. So dear stakeholders, dear good participants, in this particular, say, next 40 to 45 minutes of session, I will be narrating about the assessment and accreditation process of NAAC. Probably few of people or many of you people might have gone through it because we keep on conducting several awareness programs through our NAAC portal also. But this seems to be slightly different because I will be narrating why it is essential to proceed with the NAAC process and some facts and figures related with this overall process and present higher education system in the country that I will be narrating with you. Okay. So friends,
Yes,
first about NAAC. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible. Completely
Yeah.
audible. Kindly continue.
Yeah. About NAAC. Initially, this NAAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, as you know, was established in 1994 with its headquarters in Bangalore. And it was established on the basis of the recommendation of that national education policy, which came at that time, 1986. Now, again, with this national education policy, there will be certain revamping in the pipeline that most of you might be knowing. But the base will always remain same. And the base is related with our vision and mission, what we always talk about, that is to make quality the determining element of instrument of higher education through internal and external quality evaluation, promotion and sustenance initiative. So this, considering this mission and driving to achieve its all its vision related to the concept, what related to the assessment accreditation process, NAAC has derived its process on the basis of these core values, what you can see in front of your screen. That is contribution to national development, fostering global competencies among students, inculcating value system in student, promotion of use of technology, and quest for excellence. We believe that every education institution should strive for the best to achieve their excellence in any way. Because considering the time, considering the factor, considering the situation, we have to move ahead with that concept to see that how our education system, how our education institution, how our university can rise apart to meet the expectation of the stakeholders. It goes with certain values, and it facilitates the institution in many ways. That is, provides strength, weakness, and opportunities through various means. There are various areas of planning and resource allocation which is elaborated because of the process of NAAC. Then there is a new sense of direction and identity to the institution. Pedagogy also proceeds with certain changes as per the need and circumstances. Then collegiality in the campus happens also because of the NAAC. Funding agency to look for objective data for their performance funding, for example, at present, RUSA, previously it was UGC and all that. Society to look for certain information provided or the education provided to their prospective candidates in some form of their students and all that. Similarly, employers also see that the recruiters from where they are picking, that the institutions from where they are picking the students for their institution should be at par. So this grade matters a lot. Okay. And even in present national education policy, it is being stated, very clearly stated, that till 2035, maximum of the institutions should be accredited. That is, they should be in autonomous in this graded accreditation concept. They are pushing it. So accreditation matters a lot. Assessment process matters a lot. Then inter and inter-institutional interaction also, that is we call as collaboration. It's very much part of criteria number 3. That also is related with this. I will explain in the later part. This overall process, those people who are handling this, those people who are facing this, the institution, the IQC coordinator, the directors, principals, vice chancellors, they know very well. Specifically, I will give stress upon Pillai Saab, who was very much part of the NAG in the initial days that he was the director, and he knows very well how maximum initiative he has taken under his leadership. NAC has grown, and even with the present director, it's moving in a nice way. Similarly, Mali Saab also is there. He was also you can call it as a person who strives for quality. Since the beginning, these are the people whom we really salute, who has made this thing possible. And so what we and many of the good education institutions are able to proceed with the quality in higher education. They have climbed ahead, and the quality in higher education in overall country has improved. It's because of the good people like this. So we really are obliged to them. NAAC's process, it doesn't only is related with the academic staff, it is also related with an administrative staff. We always bat for that. We always stress on that. There is a reason, because without administrative setup, the academic concept cannot move. That we always say. And of course, you people have also realized. One incident I will share with you. You know, once a boy who wanted to do an MBA was in search of a good institution. So he just discussed that with his colleagues, with his friends, that which is the best one. So his friend suggested that some XYZ institution is a good one in the city, and you may go there and inquire. So with that information, preliminary information, he visited that institution. While entering in the institution, he was stopped by one very good, handsome-looking young security guard. He asked, "What is your business? Why did you come?" So the boy replied, "I came to know this institution has an MBA, and if yes, how it is? Can you just inform me or tell me?" So that security guard very enthusiastically replied, "हाँ MBA course है ना, मैंने किया है ना यहाँ से." So what happened that it's something very, it's a joke apart, but it's very clear that unfortunately the administrative people has recruited somebody who has done an MBA from the same institution and he was working there. That's the simple some example you can quote. But if we talk about some administrative people, there's somebody who is counseling to the student regarding their the number of courses or the program they are running, or some person who is taking examination form or collecting fees, or likewise. So their way of talking to the students, their behavior, and all that also matters. So administrative staff also should be trained properly for the upliftment of the goodwill of the institution. That is my say with this short in this story. So focus on quality. This is the mantra, I think, so every institution should proceed with. That is, quality in higher education provides learners with the capability they require to become economically productive, develop sustainable livelihood, contribute to peaceful and democratic society, and enhance individual well-being. There are these four concepts, four pillars of quality, which should be adopted by every institution whenever they move ahead with this ladder. It's not only NAAC, it's everything. If they are moving for the NBA, if they are moving for NIRF, if they are moving for Times Higher Education, everything they should participate to see that they write the quality ladder very nicely. In our process, we have this 7 criterias, and you will be surprised to know, I think so, this all good old people, the reputed and expert people like Pillai Sahab and Mali Sahab, they know very well, and they will agree also. This came from the 7-letter word quality, and every word has its meaning. For example, Q stands for quest for excellence, U for understanding the concept, A for action orientation, L for learning centric approach, I for innovation for change, T for training for competency, and Y for year round activity. It's a continuous process. For what in the initial first slide itself, second slide itself, I shared with you, quest for excellence. It's a continuous process for excellence. Means it's not that some institution want to go for a NAAC at the last 6 months or the 1 year of that particular, when they want to, they are moving ahead with that concept and started preparing. It is not that. That is not the motto. The motto is it's a year-round activity. It's a continuous activity. Every hour, every minute, every day counts for the quality improvement. And it is not only the institution which benefits, it's every individual who works in that institution does get benefit with this process if they seriously, in an inclusive manner, with the passion, if they proceed with this concept. It's like that. To start with, any new institution, if they want to proceed, they have to first register themselves in the NAAC portal. Okay. So while registration, it's very simple. Any sort of registration which you might be doing in the online way, the same way here has to also be done. But one unique part is that email address, what you will be giving in this while registering yourself, that you should provide only the institution email. There should not be an individual email. Slightly here, the institution or the particular person who is registering should be careful about, because a person may change, a leader may change, but the institution remains. So whatever the correspondence which happens from the NAAC side will always, and of course, goes to that email. So it should not be a personal email, it should be an institutional email. Then a step comes, first step is an IIQA, that is Institutional Information for Quality Assessment. I think so Pillai Sahab and Mali sir will agree with my concept. Previously, there were 2 steps, IEQA and LOI. There were 2 steps. So we have clubbed down to form 1 step, that is Institutional Information for Quality Assessment. It's very easy. The intention is to find out whether the institution is ethically, technically in existence. Okay, so what are the things we are asking? We are asking them to come out with the AISHA document, that is All India Survey of Higher Education Institutions, that every institution has to participate in it compulsorily as per the government rule. Then undertaking, they have to give it. Then self-declaration also, they have to provide it. Related with the number of programs and the courses which they are moving ahead with. Statutory regulatory authority said, that is SRA, if they are proceeding with an AICT or Bar Council of India or likewise. Okay, then online payment is okay. Website, yes, to the surprise you will find it that even though this is a central government institution, but we work like corporates here. We have very very minute checkings. We do it in case of any sort of documents which come. For example, in IIK, we see that even the website, we check it, whether it is working, whether it is functional, whether there is an RTI link. If it's a government institution, MOU, if they are having that functional MOU should be there. If the institution is proceeding with the 2nd, 3rd and 4th cycle, then we see that they have to upload the AQARs, that is Annual Quality Assurance Report, regularly. Yet this AQAR is related, it's something very interesting, that AQAR is related with that quest for excellence, that is continuously striving for excellence. It's a year-round activity. So this AQR, those institutions who take this AQR seriously, they find it very easy for them to upload the data and documentation in the form of SSR after the 5 years. It's so interesting because it's related with those 3 concepts of quality assurance, quality sustenance, and quality enhancement. So the sustenance matters a lot, so because we call it as a continuous process. Then 2F12B certificate also we want from which is given by the UGC. If it's not compulsion, but if it is there, we have to provide it. Okay. Then once IIQA, the institution is submitting, means after coming out with this all this document, they have to upload the IIQ or submit the IIQ in the online form. Nothing is physical form. Previously, everything was subjective in nature. Everything, maximum of the things were in the physical form. Now, maximum of the things are in online form. That is the big difference with the previous process and at present process. So once IIQA is submitted, if it is accepted, means we give 15-20 days time period is there for to accept or reject it. Sometimes what happens, the institutions may not have that affiliation certificate, because affiliation certificate is a college, and if university has to provide the affiliation certificate, sometimes they don't have a recent affiliation certificate. It takes time. So when the institution asks us the time, we provide it, but for a stipulated time period, for a limited time period. Similarly, in case of university also, if they don't have an SRA certificate, statutory regulatory authority certificate, in that also we provide the time within a limited period. Now, in addition to this, if because of some bureaucratic problems and all that, if they are unable to provide such certificates, so we reject it after waiting a prolonged time. And we simply don't reject it. We provide them 2 more chances so that they can apply within that year, within the fees. Means after getting certain document, after gathering certain related document, they can apply again. They can come for the same process, but within the same fees. I mean, they don't have to pay the fees again. So this is the facility which we have provided, that they can apply again within the same fees 2 times in a year. It's like that. Now, after submission of IIQA, and when it is accepted through in NAAC portal or through process, the related process, the institution has to submit an SSR, so called as self-study report, that has to be done within 45 days. Now, within 45 days means that it is not that you have to start preparing the SSR after acceptance of IIQA. Okay, the time period is there, but this preparation has to be started much more before that. Okay, so what I stated, if it is second, third, fourth cycle institution AQR, if they keep on coming out with the proper AQR, the accumulated data of AQR can be in the form of SSR. So that can be very, very much helpful to them. In case if it is a first cycle institution, in that case also, they should just plan it. Okay, we have to go for a NAAC after 6 months or 1 year like that. So they should start preparing themselves from now onwards, rather than preparing the SSR after acceptance of IIK. In such cases, I'm telling you, many of the institutions are unable to submit it within 45 days. Whosoever goes with the last minute. But since we have moved ahead with an awareness program extensively, so the people are coming to know and they start preparing themselves quite much ahead, and this is benefiting them. Okay. Now, process of assessment accreditation. This is overall. This chart in itself can be explained for 1 hour. It's like that. So I have started with this IIQA, okay, institution information for quality assessment, and after this acceptance, SSR has to be submitted. If it gets rejected, 2 more chances are being given. So after acceptance of SSR within 45 days, they have to upload. After acceptance of IIQ, they have to upload the SSR within 45 days. And then after uploading of SSR, the DVV process and student satisfaction process simultaneously start. And what is the DVV process? Let me share with you in 1 or 2 lines. DVV process is data validation verification process, which is the job is being done by the third party, and their job is to assess the quantitative metrics. And this quantitative metrics, whatever the data and documentation they provide, they have to assess that quantitative metric. That is done by DVV process, and particular time period is there. That is what 30. And these all things are being done on the basis of a standard operating procedure. We have put our standard operating procedure on our website. It is available for both education institution also and for the DVV also. The same SOP they also follow. So it's very easy, very transparent process. And simultaneously, student satisfaction survey also happens. That also I will share with you later in detail. Now, after clearance of DVV process, the institution has to score at least 25% in that quantitative metric, so that it is called pre-qualification stage. So once pre-qualification stage is cleared, that is 25% they have scored in that quantitative metric, then only they can move ahead with the peer team visit and all that. So in nutshell, I will tell you there are 2 filters. First is IIQ F1 and second is pre-qualification, that is F2. So it's simple, two filters are there. Any sort of good average institution, even a normal institution, can move ahead with these two filters very nicely if they are ethically right. So thus pre-qualification pass institution can only move ahead for peer team visit. And in case if it fails, there are very less number, very less, percentage is very less. Only those institutions are unable to qualify who take this process casually. Otherwise, everybody gets is able to clear it. So failed institution can apply again after a certain period of time, say 6 months or 1 year. They cannot apply as a punishment. Is like that. Punishment is they should come with a preparation. So what a time period is there. But here, because there one half of the amount of the fees is being saved for them, because what we do, NAAC has made a rule that SSR fees, what is being taken, say suppose 2 lakh amount is being taken for that SSR processing. So 1 lakh is being taken at the time of SSR submission, 1 lakh only after clearance of pre-qualification. It is that way. So we have provided facility to the institution. Okay. Now we will go in detail about this. What are the things you have to submit in SSR? It's very interesting. You will find it. Even though those stakeholders who are not directly related, they may also hear this. Somehow you will find that it is related with their growth. It is related with that they are benefiting some or the way, or at least it will be helpful for them to speak in some workshop, seminar, conference. So you should be attentive. That's my say. Now, 7 criteria are already shared with you. The 7 criteria are divided into key indicators for universities. It is 34, and on autonomous institutions also 34. For post-affiliated colleges, 31 UG and 32 PG, as you can see here in the slide. If we talk about metric, there are 115 number of metric for university, 107 number of metric for autonomous institution, and 93 and 96 metrics are for affiliated colleges. You know, friends, previously means actually we have revised it again in January 20. Revised means slightly we have reduced the scores and reduced the number of metrics. In 2017, when this come into existence, there were around 137 metrics for universities, 136 metrics for autonomous institutions, which has reduced. From 137, we have brought it to 115 for universities. From 136 to 107, we have brought it for autonomous. For affiliated college, there were 121 metrics. We have brought it down to 96, 90. This is to help the institution. That is our purpose. We are always here to help the institution. Hand-holding is our purpose. But the intention overall is that the ladder of quality should be towards upward for that institution. That is always our focus, that they should climb ahead, they should rise ahead, that should be beneficial. Now, these metrics are divided into qualitative and quantitative metrics. So many times you might have heard. A basic simple difference I will tell you in this, in between, related with this. You know, friends, I have already shared with you previously, the overall process was subjective in nature before 17. Okay, now maximum of the portion is objective in nature. That is the difference here. Qualitative metrics means those metrics which are subjective in nature, and that percentage is very less. These qualitative metrics are being assessed by the peer team members, by the assessors who visit the institutions, and according to their understanding and expertise, and as per our guidance related with that metrics, they give the score. But that weightage is very less for them, for qualitative. Quantitative metrics are those metrics which are objective in nature, okay? And these are being assessed on the basis of the data and the documentation which the institution submit or upload in the portal. Okay, and what sort of documentation they have to provide it, that is very well narrated in our standard operating procedure. It's very nicely driven process, you know, very stringent, robust and transparent. We have many of the times have revised or fine-tuned, you can tell it, this particular standard operating procedure as per the feedback. It's not that we are very much rigid. We keep on upgrading ourselves as per the feedback. Means whenever feedback is being received, we keep it in front of the committee. We see how much truth is there, what is the validity, what is the good thing about it, and we should take it or not. And whatever the best which is benefiting the institution and the economy, we try to take it. And accordingly, we have fine-tuned that feedback many of the times. That is SOP. If you talk about the figures, you will see the figures, whatsoever I was narrating, the same thing is in detail here. For university, there are 115 metrics, and out of this 115 metric, you will find the quantitative metric, what I was sharing with you, that maximum is objective in nature, that is quantitative metric. So percentage you will find for all the types of institutions. See, for this university is 73.6%, autonomous 67.8, affiliated 66.5, and again PG affiliated 67%. Means overall, if you talk it about, it's in between something around 66 to 74% for all the types of institution. That is maximum focus is on objective, while qualitative is slightly less. That is, you can see. Okay, moving ahead. This is one example which is I am sharing with you just for an understanding. Here you will find that what sort of we have taken it from criteria number 4, qualitative metrics. Institution has an IT policy, makes appropriate budgetary provision and all that. So this is here the institution has to write down in a text 500 words what sort of IT policy they are implementing. And this 500 words, whatsoever they will be writing down, that will be assessed by the assessors who will be visiting that institution on their expertise, on their so many years of experience. They will come out with the score related with the text what they have provided. They will see whether it is really done or not. This is the thing. Quantitative metric example is the student computer ratio, for example. Student quantitative metric I have already said it's objective in nature, and wherever the numbers and the percentage is indicated, that is called quantitative metrics. Okay. Now, this here that institution has to provide the related documentation also. For example, student number of students they have to provide, computer ratio, number of computers they have to provide. They have to provide the related bills. Means whatsoever the document they have to provide, there it is very well written in our standard operating procedures available on the website. The institution can go through and accordingly come out with the proper documentation. There is one saying, and it's very interesting. I think so. Many of you people might have heard that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I will repeat again. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is so true related with our tool, related with our present process. The people who have seen it positively, the stakeholder, the institution who have taken it with a positive spirit, they thought that we will also grow with that concept. They have been really beneficial by this thing. Okay, as compared to those who have taken negativity, they have taken it very complication. They have taken it blah blah blah, and such institutions are very less than 1%. And they have suffered also. They have not grown also, and they have, so such institutions are very less. With the people who are taken positively, they have grown. Even the individuals, the IAQC coordinator, the members of the institution are also grown academically when we move ahead with this process inclusively. Okay. Criteria wise, we'll go in a fast track manner. And here, every criteria I will be explaining in some 2, 3 lines, 4 lines for you to have a gist about the things. Criteria 1 is curricular aspects. Okay, here you will find the weightage for the university and the autonomous institutions is 150, while for affiliated is 100. That you can see very clearly. Why that weightage different is there? For a simple reason. Universities and autonomous institutions are there to design and develop the syllabus, while affiliated colleges are there to plan and implement it. So what there is a weightage different is also there accordingly. And believe me, friends, in the near future, as the NEP also talks about, that maximum number of institutions should be autonomous in nature, and they have given a deadline also, that is till 2035, most probably maximum of the institution. So gradation, accreditation, assessment accreditation process matters a lot, will matter in the future very specifically, categorically by the students also. Now, criteria number 2, teaching, learning, and evaluation. Here you will find the weightage is 200, 300, 350. More weightage for affiliated college. Why? Yeah, overall weightage score for all the 7 criteria is 1000. So their weight adjustment is there. But some specific stress has been given to special criteria because of certain reason. Now, the figure 1, I will tell you, around, you might be knowing there are 55,000, almost 55,615 institutions are there with 55,165, sorry, 55,165 institutions are there in our country. Out of that, around universities, 1,043. And if you talk about college, there are 42,343 colleges and Standalone institutions are there 11,779. So it's total about 55,165 colleges. Out of this 55,165 colleges, friends, you will be surprised again to know almost 60.57% of the colleges are in rural area. 60.57%. It's maximum of the institutions are in rural area. So then you can very easily understand if the institutions are in rural area, the maximum focus will be on teaching learning process. So the maximum stress you will find here that in criteria number 2, weightage is more. As compared to criteria number 3, there the weightage for this research innovation extension is more for universities, the 250, for a simple reason. Universities are bound to do research and innovation because of the infrastructure they are having. So the weightage is more for this criteria for this university as compared to the other autonomous 150 and the affiliated, so it's very less, 110 and 120. Affiliated with, we have 2 key indicators we have made not applicable. For example, promotion of research and facilities and this consultancy, both these key indicators are not applicable for affiliated colleges. One key indicator, that is innovation ecosystem, that is not applicable for undergraduate college, but for postgraduate is applicable. Only 10 ka score is there. Purpose, there is one quote I'm saying, what I remember, that innovation is a conversion of human desirability, technical feasibility, and business viability. It's the need of the hour. When it is the need of the hour, so even in our country also, we seriously has to work out on this innovation concept, because you will be surprised to hear some figure, listen some figure. I will go with a rounding of figure. Patents, if we talk about, we have very less number of patents as compared to the patents with the other countries, like in patents, Japan comes first with around 4 lakh, and then China around 3 and something, I think so. US is around 2 lakh something, some big figure is there. But for us is only thousands, some 10 to 15,000 patents are there. So this patents is slightly related. It's not exactly. It is not that we are not doing. We are absolutely perfect. We have a very good brains. We have an innovation and creativity in our genes also. But probably it is not channelized properly. So we have to see that our students, our teachers, our friends and all that, specifically the people related with the higher education institution, they should proceed with this innovation and creativity drastically. So what you will find that our Prime Minister, our Honorable Prime Minister, our government, present government, they are batting like anything for this process. They are moving ahead with the Startup India. They are moving ahead with the skill-based related education system. Even the NEP also talks about specific ministries also, they are related with that. So purpose is to motivate the teachers and the students for this process. Okay. So Hackathon India, so many things are there. IICT also are running several competitions related with that. Many of you people might be participating, many of your institutions, many of your students might be participating. So you understand what I want to say. So slight focus should be there into this aspect. Of course, your publication related to the papers, your books, your journals, your projects, that also matters, because the related metrics are there. But believe me, friend, one thing you should always remember from the future point of view, because NEP also talks about some 4 basic philosophical parameters on which the future assessment accreditation will be related. That is basic norms, public self-disclosure, good governance and outcomes. And maximum stress they have given on outcomes. So, and that is something very different. Different means a special lecture is required for this outcome, and what we always talk about. What we have to do as a you can again say related with this institution, as a stakeholder of the institution, that whatsoever the paper we write, whatsoever the projects we do, we should see what sort of outcome it is there, whether it is really benefiting the society. If it is, then it is well and good. Probably you will your confidence level will be more, your motivation, you will always get motivated and you will be benefited. Even the citation also matters. So such type of things we have always asked, and it will remain, it will not go anywhere. Probably the way of asking may differ, but it will always remain. Similarly, extension activity. Here we are talking about extension activity in the neighborhood community in terms of impact and sensitizing students for holistic issues and social development. That much things we are talking. We are talking about how many number of students are participating in such extension activity, whether there is any collaboration done by institution with the other university or the institution, whether there is any government collaboration, what sort of extension activity they participate. For example, Beti Bachao Abhiyan, Swachhata Abhiyan, or likewise. So this, the intention is that the students should be ignited, their mind should be ignited for the extension activity. Okay, even NEP also talks much about that they should go from selfishness to selflessness. That is the purpose. Means they should be encouraged to think about the society. It should not be that individually we should keep on talking and thinking. We should always think about the society where we are living. That is the motto. The things what your institution might be doing, your students might be doing in the form of NCC and NSS. That is the thing I'm talking about. Then collaboration, I've already discussed collaboration. Suppose if you are moving ahead with an MOU, it should be functional in nature. I remember one institution gave an MOU related with, they have with a plumber, MOU with the electrician, like this MOU they submit in the DVV. Yes, sir. So that is not an MOU. It should be an academic related MOU that we are stressing upon. Then criteria number 4, infrastructure and learning resources. Okay. Infrastructure and learning resources may we have some 4 parts: physical facility, library. As though you can see, weightage is same, 100 ka weightage is there. And it's very easy for the institution to score, because what we talk about in physical facility, whether the institution has enough of library, whether classrooms, seminar halls, like this facility, whether they have it or not, that is related with the physical facility. Then library as a learning resource, if we talk about, the institution is talking about ILMS, whether they have an ILMS software, integrated library management software is there or not. Then budget allocated for purchase of books and journals, like this. Okay, what is the number or the percentage of the students or the teachers footfall in the library? That is also is being talked about. Then IT infrastructure. 2 examples I already shared in that previous slides. That how frequently the institution upgrades its IT facility. What is the bandwidth of internet? Of course, when we came out with this matter, we never thought about so much extensively the internet and the bandwidth and the ICT concept or the IT concept will be utilized by the institutions in the teaching learning process. By hook and crook, everybody is now involved into, even though the teachers who were not ready to or who were avoiding this process, they were forced to because of that, very well. So it has worked very nicely. Then maintenance of campus infrastructure. Here we are talking about the budget allocated for maintenance of campus infrastructure other than the salary component that we are talking about. And yes, what sort of facilities or what sort of procedures the institution is adopting for maintenance of campus infrastructure. Then student support and progression. Here, this is also having 100 weightage, but only for affiliated you will find that 140 and 130 slightly increased because it is a weight adjustment between criteria number 3. Okay, with the criteria number 3. So here is institution should be give special focus on. Example, student support. So what sort of facility? Here at present the metrics hai ki facilities the students are having in the form of scholarship and freeship through the government and non-government agencies, they are getting it. Okay. Then what sort of capacity enhancement development program the institution is conducting for the student? That is the thing here. Student progression, if we talk about how many number of students have gone for higher studies, then how many number of students have cleared the competitive exams. Likewise, the number of students being placed, the placement cell should be very strong. Means overall, even though here only one key indicator is there, but believe me, friends, the specific and special thing that the institution should be attentive is about the students' outcome only. Because the institution is for them only. No? So what about the career of the student, where they are moving ahead? There should be a special stress upon. Accordingly, the thought process, according the syllabus, accordingly program, course, everything should be into that direction. And once it happens, automatically the goodwill of the institution will increase. Example, say IIM and IITs are at par. Why? Because for a simple reason, why there is so much of racing. So by the students to get admission there, so much of competition is there. Can you imagine? It's very simple because the बच्चा वहां से जब पढ़ के बाहर निकल, when the students come out of that institution, he is placed, his career is at par, means his growth is at par, and there are several examples related with that. So every parents want to put their kid into the IIT and IIMs, and every student also want to be get admitted. Means simple reason is outcome is at par. So why can't the outcome of our institution be at par? Of course, many of your institution might be at par, very good, but that should be an excellent, means there should be a race to take an admission in your institution. It should be like that. And for your information, friends, any of the faculty who is teaching in IITs and IIMs, their standard is very high. Automatically, where you are teaching, where you are faculty, IITs and IIMs, the stature automatically increases. Though the salary pattern probably might be the same, what a university professor might be getting, a normal university professor might, but their stature is very high because that institution is at par. So the same way we can also. So this matters, means outcome of the student matters. Then student participation and activities, how much of the students are participating in extracurricular activities, in university activity, or some awards and recognition they have received that they have to narrate here. Similarly, alumni engagement. Alumni is something very different. We have kept it, that has only 10 weightage. The purpose is that the alumni can play a good role. Alumni can play a good role for the institution's growth. Example, if an alumni is placed in some corporate or good company, and some placement has to be done in that company, so what he will do is, if you just keep on calling that alumni in many of your programs and facilitate him, and or likewise him or her, so that fellow alumni will definitely think about to take the student from that particular institution where he has studied. Nostalgia, it's called something very interesting that he will be passionate about. Nostalgic feeling also is there sometimes if we move ahead with that concept. So he always have that soft corner for the institution. Similarly, if any alumni become an entrepreneur, he is rich enough, so he will contribute financially for the growth of that institution. So in this way, it's a win-win situation for everybody. Okay. Criteria number 6 is governance, leadership, and management. Here you will find the score is 100 for all the types of institution. And intentionally we have kept these images here because the growth of the institution depends upon how the management of the institution is, how the governance of the institution, how the leader of the institution, how the principal of the institution, how the vice chancellor of the institution, how the director of the institution. So if he doesn't have, if a person, he or she have that out of box thinking, if he is very flexible, if he or she has that always assume to climb a ladder of quality high and always think about something doing best, you will find such institution may grow like anything. So our purpose is that whether we are asked in this, all these key indicators, several things we are asked, that the institution is moving with the decentralization concept, whether they are going with the strategic development and deployment, whether they are moving with an e-office concept, and how this administrative staff is being handled. If we talk about faculty empowerment and strategies, whether the faculties, even the teaching and non-teaching also, is being provided proper training, or likewise, whether the faculties are being provided a chance to complete their orientation refresher programs. We are talking about all these things because that is related with the growth and promotion. We came to know that few of the institutions doesn't send their faculties for refresher course and orientation program for their regular promotion. So in that case, they suffer. So we have kept it as a metric itself. So any of the institution who comes for NACC and AN process, they see that maximum of their teachers has completed this refresher and orientation program very nicely, so they get a good score. So again, it is benefiting to the faculty members. Then the training program, what we talk about here, the non-teaching staff also we have taken into loop. Even self-appraisal forms, that is performance appraisal forms, whether it is being taken regularly by the institution for both teaching and non-teaching staff, that also we are talking about here. Okay, then financial management, whether the auditing is being done regularly, what about the funds received from other sources, that other sources of income they have to provide, likewise. So it is all very, very, very nicely planned metrics, which is related with every aspect of the institution where they are moving. That IQAS, that is internal quality assurance system. This is related with the IQAC. We feel that this IQAC is the soul of the institution. Yes, is the soul of the institution. Unless that soul is very active, the institutions cannot move ahead. Uh, that you also know, few institutions become active because at the last moment when they want to move ahead with the ANA process, then IQC become active in the coordinator and the members. That's not the way. And many of the institutions like you who may remain active throughout the year, working very hard, working very nicely, always thinking for the best, and as per the parameters, indicators, metrics evolved by the NAAC accordingly, they keep on doing it. AQR, they regularly submit, regularly they keep on collecting the data and documentation. This is really appreciable. They find that at the when they are there to submit the SSR, they find everything within hand, within limit. It is very easy for them. And one more line I would like to add here, these people working in IQAC, specifically the coordinator, the members and all that, they should be rewarded, they should be recognized, they should be motivated for the effort because they have to balance all. They have to balance the teacher, they have to balance the principal, to balance the management and all that, because they have to get the work done. If they are very active, they want their institution to climb a ladder of quality. So that's in this way, the coordinators and members of this IQC team should be appreciated always. Then last criteria number 7, here the institutional values and best practices. What we always believe and talk about, that the institution should not be in existence if it is not working for the society or benefiting the society. Yes, institutions are there for the beneficial of the society at large. So overall, the key metrics in this particular criteria or the key indicator are related with that. And these are, you will find somehow it are related with the government slogans. All this, for example, gender equity, environmental conscience, sustainability, inclusion, sustainability, human values and profession. All these are related with somehow some other related government slogans. And one more thing very important. See, when we adopt something, example here we are talking about solar panels, okay, that is renewable sources of energy. We are talking about green practices. We are talking about green audited. We are talking about waste management. We are talking about rainwater harvesting. Everything whatsoever is being written here, if the institution is seriously ethically practicing it, believe me friends, these things will be practiced in the nearby to the institution, nearby household in the institution also. How? Because simple example, just say in our house, our kids, our small kids, our young kids, they follow us, they follow their parents. Whatsoever they do it, they also adopt the same thing. You will find that if a boy is there, he is following many of the things what his mother do, and if the girl is there, if following many of the things what her father does, and accordingly there is some or the other parents influence and they accordingly act. Because this watch and see, similarly in the institution also, even though students are grown up, but they keep on following what the institution does, what their teachers does. If the teacher is going to Pantela and having something there, and the same he is watching, the same way the student will do it. Not everybody, the 1 or 2%. And if they find the same teacher is sitting in library, going with the research work, doing some all creative activity, innovation activity, reading the books, so that student follow him or her and do the same thing. They try to be the replica of this. That you can very well understand. Same is the case with the infrastructure also. If the institution is going with a rainwater harvesting system, this renewable sources of energy, if the institution is practicing the say ban of plastic or say green audit and all this, good landscaping is there, neat and cleanliness is there, they will watch and they will try to implement the same in their houses. So if every house like this goes with that implementation, just imagine what sort of change in that society might be or will be. So many of your institution, many of you in the institution might be practicing a good habits, and you might be also noticing that yes, the same it is being practiced in the household nearby in the society where that institution is located. So interesting it is. If you go deep into it, you will find so many things related with that. Okay. Then we talk about best practices. This best practices and institutional distinctiveness is both are the qualitative metrics. And here we are asking the institution that in proper format, they have to give at least 2 best practices what they are adopting in the institution, and that will be assessed by the peer team member who will be visiting that institution. But let me narrate something very interesting about the best practice, how could it? Yeah, best practice can be related with any of the 7 criteria, because that question may arise. And these best practices can be made as the best one when the institution take it very seriously. For example, in your area, you will find some flyovers, old flyovers are there. In that old flyovers, you will find that on the wall of that flyover, top of that, some plant, some saplings is coming out. There's a people ka jhad or something, you find it many of the time. And you know and understand, even you will find it in many old buildings, government buildings and all that. And you know, understand that once this is growing, if this plant grows up, so it will break the wall after some time, because the root gets deep into it. That we understand, but we are helpless. We can't do anything because it's not our building, number one, and we cannot go and cut it out. Now here these best practices come into picture. Here this extension activity come into picture. What you can do with the help of your NSS, NCC or some other team related, and with the collaboration with the corporation or the municipal council or party, wherever it is, in collaboration, you can come out with a mohim to remove all those such things from the walls and that flyover and all that, so that the life of that flyover or that particular wall or that particular building increases. So in nutshell, in brief, there are issues in the society. We have to just find it out, and as an institution, as a responsible institution, we have to see that how we can come out with the solution for that institution, solution for that issue in the society. Benefit. Number one benefit, of course, NAAC mein to you will get a score accordingly. Number two, you will provoke your students to think at part, think for the society. Number three, why the institution should go with that? You come out with some sort of say some incentive or some breakfast or some tea or likewise. And one very important thing, we should not miss it. Take some images, photos and all that and video, put it in social media with the banner of an institution. It's a win-win situation. When the boy or the girl or the boys or the girls who were the part of it, when they find themselves that image, their photo and all that in the Facebook and WhatsApp and social media or newspaper with the institution banner, they feel it's very proud. And this, you might have seen it. Probably many of you might be doing all these things, but do it extensively. This will make a big change in the society at large. So this best practices matters a lot. Even we in our NAAC has come out with a series of best practices. Probably many of you people might have participated in this series of best practices. Series of best practices means we have asked, requested A+. There are very less number of A++ institutions. Very hard. Less means almost, I think, 20, 25, 30 something. So we have requested them, all such A++ institutions, to come out with the best practice, what they are adopting in the institution. And a webinar series we conducted live, which is available in our YouTube channel also. You may go through that. We found that some of the institutions are coming out with a unique type of best practice that can be followed all over the India by many places. So it's like that. So it's a good one. Then institutional distinctiveness means how the institution is distinguished and different, at least in one area. One area where they find themselves distinguished and different compared to the other institution or compared to other practices, what they do it, that they have to elaborate here. Again, it's a qualitative matrix. Now, we will go. Yeah, standard operating procedure. I have already. Student satisfaction survey. In brief, I will explain. This was related with the criteria number 3. Criteria number 2. Student satisfaction and survey. Criteria number 2, 2.7. This is the key indicator here. So here, what we are asking the institution, we are asking them to upload the number of students, at least 50% of the data of the student, means whatever the data they provide in IIQ. Example, here is the example. If they have IIQ data is 2000, means if the institution's students data at present, current year's data is 2000. So we are asking them to score at least minimum 50% of the students data. That is the email address. It should be unique in nature. It should not be same, because the system catches that. If the same email address is there, the system consider only one. It's like that. So it should be a unique individual email address. At least 50%. Why 50%? Because unless 50% they upload, the SSR doesn't get uploaded. So 50% of the students' email address data has to be provided. And what happens after that? Once the email address has been uploaded and SSR gets uploaded, immediately student satisfaction survey gets initiated. And what is the student satisfaction survey? Student satisfaction survey is that we are sharing with the students some 20 objective and one subjective question like this. 20 objective and one subjective question. It is related to the teaching learning process only. And that you can see 0 to 4 scale mein they have to come out with the answer with some options 0 to 4 scale. They have to just opt it. It's a 5-10 minutes job for them. So, there is no personal question, only teaching learning process. One subjective question is there where this institution, where the student has to come out with that in the text form. Some figures are provided. They have to come out with the text in that particular figures only. They have to explain or write it down their feelings related, because that particular text is being shared with the assessor who goes for the peer team visit. Now, this 20 objective question, which is being shared with them in their email address when the student satisfaction survey starts, what happens after that? A time period, within a time period, they have to respond. Initially what we do, out of this 50% of the students which they uploaded, 30% of the student, the email address is being, student satisfaction survey questionnaire is being sent to them to their email address. And the response for the institution to score, they should at least, response should be 10% or 100 for the colleges or 500 for the university, whichever is less like that. Then only the institution can score in that student satisfaction survey. This is the thing, very clear and very easy. It's working very nicely. Okay, so what happens after that? Once it is complete, the institution is able to see the score, what they have gotten. For example, in this case, the institution has scored 3 and the response was 48.53%. Okay, means because the response was more than 10%, so the process got completed and they have got score 3. In case if the response is less than 10%, so what happens in that case? In addition to this 30%, means remaining 70% of the students also the email is being sent. Means after a particular time period, this 15 days of time period is there, and after that remaining students also the email is being sent if the institution score is less than 10. This is system managed process, no manual intervention is there. Now, why it is so? It is so because of certain reason. I think so you might have heard this 4-letter word. It is the reason is the future of the workforce is uncertain, because volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguity it is being talked about. So we have to increase our students' capability. I repeat, we have to increase our students' capability. That is the purpose of moving ahead with the service, and that should be always the purpose of the institutions who are. So what I am telling you, outcome-based concept should be there to increase the students' capability. Automatically, the outcome of the student. There is a difference between output and outcome. Let me be very clear. Output means, for example, 1,000 number of students are there in the institution, means coming out of that institution after clearing that graduate. Okay, 1,000 number after clearing their graduate. Out of those 1,000 number, how many, that is called output, how many number of students have got really placed, how many number of students have really developed their career or have become something, that will be considered or assumed to be as an outcome. So that should be a focus on. Okay, and it is a detailed one because it requires a separate and special session for this outcome related, but please understand it is the future. Yeah. Overall, this quantitative matrix is being assessed on the basis of some benchmark. Okay, this benchmark is not disclosed. Probably it may be in the near future shortly, but this is not disclosed at present. But the benchmarks are of very average in nature. For example, if we take an example of percent of student undertaking field visit, so if we ask this question 1-to-1, you will find the maximum number of stakeholders will say, yes, of course, 100% of the students should go for field visit. So automatically the benchmark hangs out like that. For the maximum of the score, probably the benchmark may be more than 80%. For 3 ka score, the benchmark may be 80-60, 2 ka score, benchmark may be 60-40. Then 1 ka 40-20, and of course the fellow the institution who doesn't send the student for the field visit internship or are less than 20 or probably likewise should get 0. It's like that in the assumption. This is something very interesting and entertaining slide, but intentionally I kept it for the institution to understand. And many of the time they have the resources, but they probably sometimes they should. So it depends upon the quality of the leader, the governance, the management of the leader to see that how best they can utilize their resources. Utilization of resources matters a lot, friends. See, everybody may not be interested in research. Everybody may not be interested in teaching, though it's a very essential part. So as per their interest in the quality, as per the resources available with us, we should push the student, we should push the teachers into into the proper way. For example, if criteria, 7 criteria are there, so as per their interest, they should be asked to work on the respective criteria with their interest. Not if the person is not at all interested in research, and if he is pushed for the research work or some criteria, criteria 3 related concept, probably the output will not be so good or outcome will not be so good. So utilization of resources matters. Okay. Now, peer team visit, this is also something very interesting, which we have changed a lot. Previously, when the subjective concept was their whole peer team process was being managed by the institution all alone, their honorarium, their booking, their hotel booking and everything. And this all is being managed now at present by NAAC, by collecting some fees from the institution, and that fees is being given to Bauman Lowry and all that, and proper auditing is being done. This Bauman Lowry people only, this Government of India undertaking, they only book the ticket. And the honorarium is being given through that process, and after auditing there, if the amount is remaining, it is being returned to the institution. If the amount is interest, then it's like that. So peer team visit is being managed by NAAC, and so it is so we call it as a more transparent system at considered to be the previous one. So it's very interesting. Okay, it is mandatory for the institution to upload everything in their website for the stakeholders information. This is again a very good step, and we also keep on observing whether the things are there in the website. I said when the IIQ process happens, we see whether the things are there in website, whether the website is functioning. One more interesting aspect which we have introduced in the last 2.5 years, and it's working nicely, this help desk, that is stakeholders feedback, or you can call it as issue management system. This is available in the portal. The institution who register themselves, they can take a benefit of this. If they have any doubt, they can raise through IMS, and one of our officer will reply as per his specialization. Automatically system throws the issue to the particular officer as per his or her specialization, and the response is immediate on the same day, or if it is escalated to some other officer next day or likewise. So the response is done very shortly, very short span of time. It's working very nicely. Our director has taken a very good step. So
sir, excuse me, please conclude.
Yeah, it's the last 1 or 2 slides are there.
Okay.
So, friends, this is something which I was to speak, that for a green forest, what you can see, every individual in the institution should have that passionate of coming out with a quality aspect. Then only there can be a growth in the quality of that institution. Okay, in this way the things work. So thank you very much for inviting me to give a session on this. It's a very elaborative, try to finish it in a brief. So thank you. Thanks for your patience listening. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and patience and in-depth knowledge that you have shared with us. Thank you very much again. Next, taking the webinar onwards, now Professor Hemant Kothari, sir, Dean PG Studies, would introduce our next speaker, Professor VNR Pillai, sir.
Thank you, Akanksha. On behalf of Pacific University, I once again welcome our distinguished speaker, Professor Rajshekharan. Rajshekharan Pillai is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Somaya Vidya University, Mumbai. He has been at the helm of affairs of many higher educational and scientific research establishments for almost 50 years as a teacher, researcher, professor, and executive head of education, science and technology establishment in the country, and an elected fellow of Indian Academy of Science. Professor Rajshekharan Pillai is one among the top cited chemistry researchers in the country. About 60 doctoral and postdoctoral researchers have been trained under his direct supervision. And he was also a visiting research professor in the University of Lausanne, Switzerland. Top executive position which Professor Shekharan occupied
Is there a problem of connectivity? Hello, is there a problem of connectivity?
Sir, your voice is clear.
No, but I am not hearing anything. Yes, now I can hear. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Can I start?
Yes, yes. You can continue, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Rameshwar Ameta, Dean Faculty of Science, for extending me an invitation to participate in this seminar on assessment and accreditation of colleges, universities, and higher education institutions. I understand that this particular webinar is focused on the NAAC accreditation. Let me congratulate the university for taking up this initiative. It is very important for higher education institutions to offer quality education. And accreditation is one of the means by which refinement of quality in our teaching, in the students' learning, and in the overall performance of the institution can be enhanced. Of course, the earlier speaker, Dr. Kabada, mentioned about the 7 criteria and all these parameters. I don't want to again detail the 7 criteria and their implications. I would like to look at the assessment and accreditation as a quality intervention for enhancing the overall utility of an education institutions in a comprehensive way. Now we have heard, and we all know that in the accreditation process by NAAC, 70% is for quantitative data and 30% for qualitative thing. That is, so that means 70% is for quantitative data, and these data need to be in the open domain. For example, all this data need to be in the institution's website. It has to be in the AISHE website. And that means whatever we are claiming from the education institution, that should be available to the stakeholders. That is the thing. That is the purpose of it. So that this 30% is just verification of this quantification data. So the overall, when we just look at the overall purpose of all these parameters, you can just see that in our educational processes, what we are doing is we are providing knowledge and skills to the learners. The knowledge and skills is the text of education. If you just education as a whole, the knowledge and skills constitute the text of education through our lectures, through practicals, through project work, through our own direct interaction as teachers, our own direct interaction with the students. We are through textbooks, through practicals, we are trying to provide them knowledge and skills. So this knowledge and skills, of course, we are offering this knowledge and skills under varying environments, under varying contexts. The knowledge and skills also vary from time to time, maybe from place to place also to some extent. I will explain that. What is the purpose of getting the knowledge and skills? To enhance the quality of life and life management systems. Life, of course, we know that life is not just livelihood. Life in its entirety, life of the individual, life of the family, life of the community, life of the society, life of the country, life of the universe, everything. So that is precisely the purpose of knowledge and skills. So a person who is getting the knowledge and skills, he or she should understand the context of the knowledge and skills which he has acquired. This context, as I mentioned earlier, just now, it varies from time to time. It varies from place to place. And only when the educated person, that a person who has acquired the knowledge and skills, understand the context of the knowledge and skills, the real application of the knowledge will happen. Otherwise, even failure may happen. The knowledge may not be properly applied. When we say this is not just a theoretical construct, theoretical or pedagogical construct, we can see practical. For example, I'm a professor of chemistry. There are, of course, for my own subject, there are different contexts, industrial contexts, then environmental contexts. There are several things. Similarly, for any subject, for humanities, for social sciences, for engineering, for technology, for medicine, you can see that the context varies from place to place and context varies from time to time. And therefore, it is if you just look at the division of the various parameters and the different components of the 7 parameters, you will see that why these questions are asked. These questions are asked to find out whether this knowledge acquisition is happening properly, skills acquisition is happening properly, whether this knowledge is, whether the student gets an idea of the application of the knowledge or the application of the skills. So this is the text-context correlation of knowledge. This, of course, context has a social relevance, cultural relevance, regional relevance, lot of contextual relations are there. This varies from time to time, place to place. I am sitting in a village in Kerala. Of course, I work in Bombay. Now I am sitting in a village in Kerala. That the context of here would be totally different from an education institution in maybe in a cosmopolitan city like Mumbai or Delhi, or in a village in Uttar Pradesh or in Haryana or in Rajasthan. It would be totally different. And therefore, whatever these questions, additional questions, there are several parameters they are asking. This is about the context of the knowledge and skills. And then the institution's perspective also varies from depending upon the context. For example, there are several parameters. There are parameters to assess the education institution, and it is very important also that nowadays to get an accreditation, to get a higher rating. But of course, it is important for maybe upgradation of the institution. It may be important for the getting certain grants, several things. It's very important, no doubt about it. But ultimately, we have to analyze these parameters, 7 parameters in terms of the context. I can just give you one example. For example, we talk about probably we have a parameter on infrastructure and all that. Now, infrastructure and learning resources. That is the 4th parameter, infrastructure and learning resources. There are colleges, there are higher education institutions in totally inaccessible regions of the country, highly mountainous regions. Even construction of a building is a very difficult task in certain areas. Availability of probably, now of course we also face the digital divide and all that. Availability of the IT infrastructure, computation capability would be difficult. But when an institution puts into perspective their objective, their vision, their plan of action to achieve this vision in the right perspective, they can definitely look at all these perspectives and try to realize the vision of the institution. I have, of course, I have personal experience from one of the institutions. Of course, I had also been to several colleges as chairman of the NAAC Accreditation Committee, as the NAAC Accreditation Committee, and also as executive director of NAAC, and also chairman of NAAC in several capacities, and in whether for various other scientific committees also had occasion to visit colleges and universities in different regions. In the Northeast, there was a college. Of course, I will not mention the name of the college or anything. It was in, of course, there is some history behind it. It was in 90s. When you say I was in the National Assessment and Accreditation Council in the 90s only. 90s. That was during 90s. I was there. So there was a college. There is a college. Even now that college is there. At that college, then during those period, we were accrediting the institutions by that's 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. These are the three higher level accreditation. So when they fill all the forms, for example, infrastructure and learning resources, we will ask what is the area of the computer lab. We will ask what is the total area, what is the built-up area. All these things probably they were lacking. In many of these things they were lacking. But when the college was established, they prepared a 10-year objective for that institution. They are in the Northeast. So they said most of the learners from those institutions are the first generation learners. That means the first member coming from a family to higher education, to a college. Right? The first person. So, and there are only maybe 20% of them had maybe second generation learners or something. 80% of them are like that. 80% of the families, they didn't have not even a graduate, but at least one graduate from the college. And therefore, when this college was established, maybe within 15 kilometers area, there was no other college at that time. Of course, now things are different now, I know that. But that college mentioned that of course, we are looking at all these parameters, but we have prepared a vision for the college that we will identify all the families, when we say all the families, maybe maximum families in that region. And then within 10 years, they will try to achieve at least 90% of course, their target was to provide at least one graduate from each of the family, at least one graduate. This is a Herculean task. They have to worry about even bringing them eligible for higher education. That means sending them the importance of schooling, and then maybe projecting the higher education possibilities, and then by getting a graduate in a family, what are the benefits which are going to accrue out of it? All these things they have to narrate. So they just mentioned that this is this particular, we are thinking of just bringing it within 10 years, at least one graduate from each family to graduate from that particular college. For that, they have prepared a very elaborate scheme, going to the parents, advocating about higher education, and then trying to bring them into the college, and then making them learn and trying to make them graduate. Not trying to make them graduate, teach them and them graduate. And within 10-12 years, they could achieve 70% of those expectations. They could bring. So of course, within that area, there were no
पहले वाला तो तमीज़दार उसने मतलब 45 minutes वाले घंटे बोल के
So is there anything, is it time? What is it that some mention was there? Is it time up? No.
No, continue, sir.
Okay, so they just, of course, there was a team. They prepared the prayer. What is that? Self-study report. Self-study report was presented, and when we looked at when the team looked at the self-study report, they were lacking many things according to the criteria. Many things they were lacking. Infrastructure, almost very difficult. To get a lot of material for construction into those places, it's ultimately very difficult. They have difficulties in getting permission to get constructions. So these things are all the background of building the institution. So many of this physical infrastructure, for example, many of the things they were almost when we compare that, it was almost zero. That is the maybe 1 out of 5. We could give 1. That was the type of infrastructure and all that. But then their accreditation went down. Of course, you can imagine that at that time it was voluntary accreditation. I do not know, but of course I know that it is now it's compulsory. Accreditation is compulsory. That's what I'm given to understand. So that during those time it was voluntary, but they volunteered. They volunteered that because they said that this report from this team would be definitely an eye-opener for us, and that will be a learning exercise for us, and we can improve. But of course, in the first assessment and accreditation, in the overall preparation of the overall assessment, I'm not saying about the final gradation and all that, they could not come anywhere, maybe around 3 or 3.2, something like that. They could come 3-star around that. So. But they appealed. They said, this is our achievement. This was our vision. This is our achievement, that we could graduate this. And many of these first generation journalists, of course, you know that in the Northeast, there are preferences. Once they get graduation, they get a job and all these things. So their success, not only graduation ratio, their successful graduation ratio, for example, just not pass percentage, but graduation ratio as well as the employability of this kind. They could convince that. So if we just look at the quantitative criterion and then assess this institution, I mentioned that they would have just got a 3. But this thing they presented with facts and figures, that this achievement of the institution. And then it was reassessed, that particular institution was reassessed, and they got a 5-star in accreditation. So that what I wanted to say from this example is that whatever, for example, the different criteria and different subsets of this criteria, they all need to be appropriately contextualized. And of course, people ask, of course, we are hearing about best practices. We cannot have a list of best practices which is written down by somebody. No, we cannot have it. For example, even the best practice has to be decided by the institution. What is the best practice? Maybe more and more best practices will evolve out of it. For example, there may be innovations. For example, innovations in infrastructure. I have seen certain institutions taking the old, unused wagons of trains and then taking it for classrooms. Of course, nowadays you see that many of the things for classrooms. These are all innovations. For example, in adversities, when we have difficulties, we think about a lot of other things. So there could be innovations. So the point is that even when we say the best practices, of course, even today we are discussing about the solar thing, then waste disposal and all that. But there could be a lot of other things also. And then my point is that our accreditation process, our preparation of the self-study report, it should not be a form-filling exercise. It should not be a form-filling exercise. We have to probably for every point which you have mentioned, a good, well-meaning institution will have a positive answer to say about every point which is mentioned there. That is why there's this new best practices, all these things are evolving. For example, during the last 15, 16, 18 months, since last March, 2020 March, we have seen how technology is probably helping us in education. Now, of course, just as we have an accreditation process, 70% for quantity and 30% for qualitative, things like that. It is very important that these 70%, everything which we do, good thing, it can be really quantified. It can be really quantified. Quantified means it's not just numbers. Probably we can put that thing into perspective. Therefore, contextualization of each and every point in the NAAC accreditation form, self-study, the pro forma for self-study report is the most important thing. What is it? What is that NAAC? What is that by accreditation expecting? Actually, this accreditation body is giving some sort of a mirror to the education institution, and then the accreditation body, whether it be NAAC or whether in the NBA, whether it could be other quality council accreditations, there will be several bodies. They are giving a mirror, and they are asking us to look into. For example, as an administrator, they are asking me to just look at this mirror and finding out and asking me the question whether I am all right. I am all right with my administrative decisions, administrative approaches, administrative policies. Similarly, to a head of the department, similar questions. What is expected of the head of the department? Similarly to different committees, for example, we cannot expect every member, maximum members from each and every affiliated college in this country to be member of the board of studies, member of the academic council and all that. It's not possible. It's impossible. But we can very well say that I am performing the functions of a board of studies member or a faculty member, but that may not carry weight. But you have to really assert and tell that this is the. For example, in an affiliating university, of course, your university is this host university is a unitary university, I know, but there are universities in this country with more than 1,000 colleges and all that. And in their academic council or a board of studies, not even probably not even one person will be there from many, almost all the affiliated colleges. So, for example, there is in one of these things, they are asking board of studies membership, academic council membership, that membership, December. This is not, for example, we have to say that it is impossible, but they know what is the function of a board of studies, and it is a teacher's responsibility, and therefore they are doing it. Similarly, what are the innovations? For example, for any subject, they are trying to find out the connections of that particular subject into different areas, where they will be asking about industry participation. It may not be possible for industry collaboration for all the subjects and all that, because of numbers, because of the relevance and all that. Similarly, there are limitations for affiliated colleges. Dean, Professor Ameta, are there participants from affiliated colleges also in this seminar?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So or is it a unitary university?
University participants as well as college participants.
Okay. So I thought of covering them also. Thank you. So so one cannot ever imagine. For example, criteria which is followed for if there are 1,000 colleges, more than 1,000 colleges are there in some of the universities in this country, affiliate colleges. They cannot have, each college cannot expect any of this. We want these colleges to be accredited. And therefore, my point, my emphasis is that these criteria can be contextualized. And there is nothing which prevents in contextualization. Now, more, of course, earlier, it was mostly qualitative accreditation, not these data they were examining and all that, but a lot of things. Similarly, they ask about the membership of different membership in different bodies and all that. We have to say as an education institution. Similarly, even for a private university, of course, we are a private university, Dr. Mehta.
Yes.
Yes. For example, of course, I also work in a private university now. So you can, for example, you cannot expect much of a membership in the governing body. Sorry, top bodies in the national bodies in the country. You cannot expect much of a membership from private universities and all that. So, but that doesn't mean that we are not working on those lines. We are working. We are definitely working on those lines. We are just looking at these things in the perceptions of, in the perspectives of a board of studies member, in the perspective of a faculty member, perspectives of an academic council member. So that we have to clearly mention that. So when the question probably is, when it is quantity only, how will we say that? But this is where probably we have to just try to put this confidently, with courage of conviction, these numbers appropriately, and then point out. Similarly, when it comes to student support and progression and all that, of course, we will say that, of course, alumni. Even the large university, my earlier speaker was mentioning about IITs, central universities and all that, they have, for example, alumni contribution. Alumni in terms of money, of course, they are calculating in terms of money. What, for example, the alumni salary and where are these alumni? What is the total? For example, if you just look at many of our even maybe 10, 15 years or old colleges, you can see that many of our graduates may be working in other countries in different. So even in our own universities, in central universities and all that, I have seen that they just count the number of postdoctoral fellows working outside the country, and they convert their dollar or pound salary into Indian rupees, and they multiply by several hundred postdoctoral scholars, and it's a great, and that is, of course, that's a contribution. It's an alumni contribution. So similarly, we can find out ways and means to find the positive things plus things which we are all doing. And then we will also ask, for example, the cost benefit analysis of an institution. So when we just analyze the cost benefit of an institution, we can, if you just look at higher education, collegiate education in this country, you can see that this is the most productive sector in our country. For example, just look at what is the overall input. Of course, we will say what is that? Even now we are spending only less than 2.5% of the GDP for education. That's a different thing. But when it comes to the graduation of a undergraduate student, that means degree student or a postgraduate student, the input is rather very small. But you will see that our students, our postgraduate students' performance all over the world. So if you just look at the input-output analysis, you can also just clearly say that our output is really good in terms of investment. I am not saying that that is a positive thing, but that is also some sort of a message to the administrators that it is very necessary to have more inputs, find investments in higher education, whether it be the private or public sector. It is very important to have more inputs into the higher education system. So by all these procedures, for example, by the accreditation things started in probably in 2000, it started right turns, Ernest, before that also very small institutions, very low percentage of institutions were accredited. Even now, it is, I do not know how we are going to think about the accreditation of all the colleges and universities in this country. Now, we are also, for example, when we think about innovations, diplomas, certificates, and all that, there are, of course, now new possibilities are there. So so maybe for the next 5 minutes, I will just look at the new possibilities in quality enhancement in higher education. For example, and now we know that about the Academic Bank of Credits, ABC, ABC, July 27, the Academic Bank of Credits came into reality. That means 40% of the 40% of the total marks, total credits of any course can be scored from lot of other learnings, other educational experiences other than the parent institution. It can be from the Coursera, it can be from the MOOC, it can be from several Swayam learning. It can be, for example, 10% can be from another institution. It can be a project work in an industry. It can be an experiential learning from the field. So 40% of the credits can be earned from outside, other than the enrolled institution. And you can register that credit with the Academic Bank of Credits. It is, of course, it started functioning, and then you can go with this credit to an institution. Maybe that is definitely going to be an innovation in telling every student that why don't you enroll maybe for one or for the external courses from anywhere in the world. Now, anywhere in the world, we of course we have seen that Coursera is being utilized by large number of students. So it is very, 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 very important. So 40%. This is going to change the scenario. Similarly, multiple exit and entry, the entry points. After 1 year, they can just complete the work till then, and then they go for and there is also possibility of course, if you just look at the national education policy, for many of the certificates, diplomas and all that, there are a lot of opportunities. You can earn a certification from credible other organizations, non-university institutions also, non-higher education institutions also, you can earn a lot of credits. There is a process known as assessment and certification of prior learning. For example, when you just look at the students in our colleges and universities, in our classes, you will see that students are of different calibers. Some of them have good knowledge of certain skills, good knowledge in certain subjects. Some of them have knowledge in other subjects. Some of them have very good skills at computer, maybe at some other area, maybe about the social sciences, lot of things. So there is a possibility of assessing that acquired skills of a learner. Assessing the acquired skills of a learner, and then making it equated with our own credit programs in the colleges and universities, and giving weightage. In the Academic Bank of Credits, this assessment and certification of prior learning is also included. Assessment and certification of prior learning, it is called ACPL, because I had also some personal experience when I was heading the Indira Gandhi National Open University as its Vice Chancellor. We introduced this particular scheme. It is a United Nations project, assessment and certification of prior learning. For example, if you just look at the society, whether it be in Rajasthan, whether it be in Uttar Pradesh, whether it be in any part of the country or world, you will see that the overall acquired knowledge and skills in the society, maybe 70% of the knowledge and skills are not from any university graduates or higher education, or even from literates. Even illiterate people in the country have a lot of knowledge and skills acquired. And this knowledge and skills can be acquired, assessed and quantified. And it can be, maybe we have to provide them some additional skills, some communication skills, some IT skills and all that. And then their learning is definitely, their learning and the acquired skills is as important as the education which we have all acquired through established education institutions. And this assessment and certification of prior learning, you can definitely look at the specially able students with some additional knowledge and skills, and then provide them these things. So in this new education policy, the multiple entry and exit, there's a possibility of just going out of the four walls of the education institutions and then trying to get knowledge and skills and getting it as part of the degree, as part of the program. There are universities in the developed countries, even maybe right from industrial revolution onwards, and they will learn and everything in a university. They will complete their examination, but they will not get a degree. That is that degree diploma. They will only have only when they complete 1 year of industrial practice or social community practice or social service, they will get a degree. That doesn't mean that they are not, many of them, they may not even come for taking a degree. But it's very important that the lot of knowledge and skills available and lot of knowledge and skills which are necessary for the society. When I say society, it is not just industry or the higher management capabilities and all that, even at the farming sector, in the retail sector, all these things. So maybe when we just look at all these programs, we have to combine then our country's different mega projects, whether it be Skill India. Of course, with this academic bank of credits, there's a possibility of combining the Skill India program, maybe several other possibilities. And then we should also, as education institutions, we should also think that education is happening in other departments other than Department of Education of the of the central government and the state governments. But there are also large number of other departments. For example, the common service centers of the Department of Information Technology. The common service centers, in each nook and corner of the country, you can see the common service centers. How much capabilities they are providing to the ordinary people. So connecting with them, our students connecting with them. And similarly, even for Defense Ministry, there are educational opportunities. We had a collaboration when I was in IGNOU, we had a collaboration with the Defense Ministry for providing education. There are educational wings. For all ministries, there is an educational wing, and it is very important that our universities, our colleges, institutions can connect. And therefore, independent initiative, promoting the independent initiatives of the individuals, particularly the teachers, and is the real responsibility of an education institution. Our governance, our policy, all these things are to promote the independent initiatives of the students, the teachers, and the community at large for mixing education and knowledge and skills. And you will see ample examples. If you just look at the NAAC accreditation reports of good institution also, you will see that there are several examples of such interventions. So it is not just planting one tulsi or just putting a energy saving lamp. That is not the way. It is creating the culture of quality. Okay. So that is more important. And ultimately, numbers, of course, numbers, grades, all these things will be there. It's important. I'm not denouncing it. It's very important. But ultimately, the overall purpose of accreditation is to ask myself ask to our institution, our own internal, we are asking how far we are inculcating and imbibing that culture of quality in all our interventions. Thank you very much. If there are very specific questions I can ask, I thought of just giving a general impression. And these are all doables. Thank you very much.
Anybody has any other questions for the sir? More than welcome. I guess, sir, all of them. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, for your precious time and your knowledge that you have shared with us. It was our pleasure and a pleasure of our university to have you over here. Thank you again very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I have visited Pacific University physically.
Oh, sir.
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I have visited your campus.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, again.
Thank you.
The last speaker, Professor R.S. Mali, sir, will be introduced by Professor S.C. Ameta, sir, Professor of Eminence, Faculty of Science.
Good afternoon, Professor Mali.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
At least
we are all chemistry colleagues. No,
yes. Madam is also from chemistry. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you.
Sir, we continue.
Good afternoon, Professor Suresh Ameta. Thank you very much for inviting. Thank you. Please continue. I will be.
The invited speaker for this session is Professor R.S. Mali. I heartily welcome Professor Mali. Professor Mali is a magnanimous personality who needs no introduction. Even then, it is my prime duty to introduce him to the participants. He started his teaching career in Savitribai Phule Pune University in 1973, and then headed the Department of Chemistry, and then served as Dean, Faculty of Science. He had about 4 decades of teaching experience. Professor Mali had been Vice Chancellor of North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. He had been a visiting fellow at Zurich, Switzerland, 1979-80. He received a number of awards for his contribution, such as Professor V.K. Jong Award, Dr. R.C. Shah Memorial Award, Namdar Gopi Krishna Gokhale Maharashtra Award, Vanashri Award, Indra Priyadarshini Vrikshamitra Award, and above all, Life Achievement Award. He has guided about 30 students for PhD and participated in 150 national and international conferences, including chairing sessions, delivering keynote addresses, and inaugural lectures. Since last 20 years, Professor Mali has been closely associated with NAAC Accreditation as chairperson of NAAC peer team. I once again welcome him for his illuminating talk on how one can achieve higher grades in NAAC evaluation. Welcome, Professor Mali.
Yeah, thank you. So, shall I start?
Sure.
Okay. So, today's distinguished speaker, Professor Raj Shekhar Pillai, who is very close friend of mine, and we know each other since last several years, at least minimum more than 3 decades.
Yes.
And Professor Suresh Ameta is the Professor of Eminence, Professor of Chemistry. We are very happy because all of us are from chemistry, including Professor Raj Shekhar Pillai, Professor Rameshwar Ameta, Dean of Science Faculty, Professor Hemant Kothari, Dean PG Studies, and Neetu Shargar, Head of the Department of Chemistry. So friend, I feel really very happy to be associated with this webinar, especially which is planned for academic activities and NAAC activities and other one. Professor Raj Shekhar Pillai has already given you some information regarding higher education and the skill component and other. which are now absolutely necessary, because new education policy we cannot neglect. We have to see what are the new avenues open in new education policy and how we can go ahead with new education policy. And for new education policy, proper implementation, NAAC accreditation is a must, because here you will have only 3 types of institutions as per national education policy. First will be university, research intensive university. Second will be teaching intensive university. And third will be all multidisciplinary institutions having degree awarding status. So all other colleges, they will come under this category. And once they have degree awarding status, they will be called as, say, university only. So there will be only universities, because there will not be any affiliating university in future, because of affiliation, lots of problems are faced by several universities. Because here, large number of colleges are affiliated to at least few universities in India, or each in every state also. In some states, we have noticed that there are more than 600, 700 colleges which are affiliated to these universities. So I have prepared some slides, but just share with you. Yeah. Desktop. Desktop, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, just a minute. Hey, could you? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. You can continue,
So
sir.
you can
Yes,
proceed,
yes,
sir.
yes. Yeah, I am continuing.
Okay.
As Professor Rajshekhar Pillai, he mentioned that he visited your university before 4 or 5 years or so. I did not get any opportunity to visit your university, but I have visited quite a few universities from Rajasthan and good number of colleges regarding, say, NAAC assessment and accreditation purposes also. For today's seminar, I am really very happy that your university, even if it is a self-finance university, but still you have organized one-day national webinar on standards and procedures for a NAAC evaluation, and especially which are related to academic activities. Next. Yeah. So the topic of my lecture is roadmap for achieving higher grade in NAAC evaluation. So friend, evaluation and assessment and accreditation by NAAC, it involves the overall assessment of the institution. And for this purpose, there is a need, because as I mentioned, why there is the need of NAAC accreditation, it is necessary for universities also, because there will be 2 types of university, research intensive and teaching intensive. So here they can realize themselves whether they can opt for research intensive university or teaching university, and for others it will be useful for multidisciplinary institutions having degree awarding status. So for this purpose, unless they are accredited and unless they are having autonomy, they cannot be considered for this multidisciplinary institution status. So therefore, for all remaining colleges, it is absolutely necessary. And now you have seen, might have seen that University Grants Commission has also made it mandatory that all higher education institutions, they should get themselves accredited by 2022 with minimum CGPA of 2.5. So therefore, it is necessary, because now for getting, say, autonomous status for any college or any recognized institution, Eligibility criteria is the college should be accredited by NAAC, and not only accredited, the college or the institution should have minimum 3.01. So means A grade. And then only they become eligible. But now under this status, there are not large number of colleges. I will give you all the details also, because the number NAAC accreditation we have to increase, and not only that, colleges we should have more than A minimum A grade, or otherwise UGC has to some change this accreditation criteria, and that eligibility instead of it is A, they may have to consider B or B plus grade. Then most of the colleges will be considered under graded autonomy. So the points today's lecture I will consider is, say, for roadmap for achieving higher education. Here, this is all related to quality, and quality issues means quality of our curriculum, quality of teaching research activities, extension activities, infrastructure facilities. So everywhere in all NAAC, 7 criteria are there. So everywhere we have to have quality should be reflected in our institutional activity. I will give you some information regarding the number of institutions in India, because on one side, we will see the large number of institutions, say various types of colleges and universities have been coming up since independence. So that number on one side, it is increasing. But if you talk about quality, as compared to the number of institutions or expansion of this, quality is not improving, and therefore students are facing problem in getting jobs and other things. So these issues also we will have to have. But for this purpose, see, UGC has taken some steps for improving the quality since 1948-49 also, and therefore there is a need of assessment and accreditation, as I have told you that quality is important. But what are the agencies we accredit or assess? So there are NBA, National Board of Accreditation. It is especially for professional colleges, professional courses they accredit, and NAAC accredits all professional, non-professional higher education institutions. But it's an overall assessment of the institution. They assess and they give grades also. And now, as I have told you, that UGC has also made it mandatory that by 2022, all colleges should get accredited. Then only they will be considered for multidisciplinary institutions. I will give you the correct information regarding the current status of accreditation. And to increase the number of accredited colleges, UGC has proposed one scheme in 2019. That scheme is Paramarsh. So I will give you brief information about that Paramarsh also. Then how to improve CGPA and grade of the institution, what efforts, all the individuals, because this NAAC accreditation, it is not the job of only head of the institution, say vice chancellor, pro vice chancellor, or in case of colleges, principal or the director, or the IQAC coordinator, IQAC director, and members of this one. But it is the joint responsibility of all stakeholders, including teaching, non-teaching staff, students, and everybody. If everybody puts in effort, then only it is possible for the institution to achieve higher grade. National education policy, I have just mentioned to you, it is required for colleges to autonomy and multidisciplinary institutions also. So therefore, NAAC is absolutely necessary. Just to give you information regarding growth of higher education institutions in India, you may be aware that in 1857, initially 3 universities were established: Calcutta University, Mumbai University, and Madras University. But after that, quite a few institutions were established up to 1800, and after, say, 1901, several institutes. But till, say, maybe up to 1950, in India, we had only 20 universities, 500 colleges, and the number of students taking higher education was only 2.5 lakh. So, friend, but if you look at the current status, I have mentioned these figures are from AISHE report 2019-20. And this indicates that the total number of universities itself, we have now 1,043. Central universities, 48. These are funded by central government. Then we have state public universities, where the funds are provided by the respective state. Then we have state private universities. For these universities, the permission is granted by the individual states also. Then we have cluster universities. Since last 3-4 years, the RUSA and UGC has suggested this, and in several states. cluster universities have been established. In Maharashtra, we have established some 4 cluster universities. Then deemed universities, this concept was there before 1900. So like this, we have here this deemed university status. So currently we have some 125 deemed university. And if you look at the colleges, you see here, say around 1950, we had only 500 colleges, but now we have 42,343 colleges. If you look at the number of students in 1950, there were only 250,000 students, but now the total number of students is say 4 crore 5 lakh. So therefore, if you look at this number, there is good increase here. And as we have seen now, each university is having, some universities having more than 500 colleges, but that was the figure at that time. The summary also, it indicates that, because here we have mentioned that 42,343 colleges are there, but these are affiliated to various universities. So out of 1,043 universities, so here there are only 307 universities which affiliate these colleges, and then there are other universities which are non-affiliating universities. Similarly, we have some standalone institutions here. But if you look at the colleges in various states also, the highest number of colleges are there in 8 states, which are, say, UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. But if you look at this one also, about 40% of universities are located in rural areas. So therefore, about 420 universities are located in rural areas. If you go look at the colleges, about 61% colleges are located in rural areas, and therefore they have their different problems and other ones. So improve the quality. These are the hurdles where we have. Another hurdle is there. There are about 79% colleges which are managed by private management. They are run by private management. And out of this 79%, 65% colleges are fully unaided. They do not get any grant from government, either state government or central government. And only 14% colleges are grant-in-aid colleges. So therefore, this is again another problem, getting funds for this and improving the infrastructural facilities, paying the salaries of the teacher and other work. Now, if you look at the national education policy, here say 33% colleges are running single program, like College of Education, pharmacy colleges, or some management colleges and other one. But what is expected in national education policy is multidisciplinary institution. So therefore, these colleges, they will have to form the cluster, or they will have to start some new courses, new program, new discipline, then only they will be considered. Other thing is now, say in national education policy, they said that the colleges, multidisciplinary colleges, the current picture is only say 4% colleges, so about 1,700 colleges are having more than 3,000 students. But in national education policy, it is visualized that all multidisciplinary institutions, they should have about 3,000 students. But here about 16% colleges are having less than 100 students. So there are several problems of this point. Gross enrollment ratio, and this again we have seen, that is improving. But if you look at the number of foreign students, here we have seen the total number of students taking higher education is 4 crore 5 lakh, and the number of foreign students taking education, higher education in India, it is just 50,000, and it comes to about 0.12%. So there was one matrix in NAAC accreditation process, number of students admitted from other states and other countries. So this is again the hurdle. This was the hurdle for colleges also, but now in new guidelines, which are there from January 2020, this matrix is removed from colleges also, but so it becomes easy for them. And now if you look at the number of teachers, here 15 lakhs teachers are there. So if you see the total number of students, say 4 crore 5 lakh divided by 15 lakhs, so it comes about 30 to 35. So therefore, our student-teacher ratio is very high. And if you again consider the professional colleges, because professional colleges, they have to have, you say AICT norms, and AICT norms are for colleges, engineering colleges, pharmacy, medical colleges, the ratio is 15:1 or 20:1. So therefore, they will have to appoint that many teachers. So if you remove this one from our total number of colleges, then for others, that student-teacher ratio, it goes to about 40:1 or 50:1. What are the initiatives? As I told you that first, the University Education Commission was established by central government, and that was Dr. Radhakrishnan Commission in 48-49. They considered all these aspects, whatever are mentioned in our national education policy, say curriculum, examination, funding, medium of instructions, quality, accessibility, excellence, inclusiveness, and governance for this. But what is the output of the report of this committee? The output was establishment of University Grants Commission in 1956. So this UGC was established, and since that time, quality and fundraising was done by University Grants Commission. Now, this is again in what is stated in UGC Act in precise. It shall be the general duty of the commission to take, in consultation with the universities and other bodies concerned, all such steps as may think fit for the promotion and coordination of university education and for the determination and maintenance of standards of teaching, standards of examination and research in university. So therefore, friend, since that time, but what happens is there are several hurdles, because after that also several commissions, committees were established by central government, their reports were submitted, but these were not followed strictly, and therefore it becomes difficult to maintain the quality. Now we will see, we have just mentioned that different universities we have seen in that one, but in addition to that, because all we have, I have told you that central university, deemed state, public, private, and other one here, cluster university. But Meru, this is in National Education Policy, Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. And it is stated that such university, the standard of such university will be similar to IIT. And it is aimed that such university, at least one university will be there in each district, which will be like a model for other colleges. So if this really happens, then only there will be use of our national education policy. So now everybody says that now they are going to implement national education policy and other one just by introducing some new courses. Instead of 3-year, now 4-year courses or multiple exam, multiple entry and other things also. But they should initiate the process for establishing Meru so that it will be really useful, so that will be really starting of new education policy or implementation of new education policy. If you look at the number of colleges, we have various types of colleges. Constituent colleges and conducted colleges, these are run by universities, these are like university department. The second one is affiliated colleges, which are either permanently affiliated or temporarily affiliated. But what are these colleges which are covered under these? These are government colleges, grant-in-aid colleges, self-finance colleges, because these are managed by private management. Then professional colleges. Here we have engineering, medicine, pharmacy, law, architecture, and others also. Then non-professional colleges like our others, art, science, commerce, and other one also. Then recognized institutions we have, then autonomous colleges and recognized institutions we have here. Recognition, because for getting grant, because it is related to quality, because unless we get a grant, so for getting grant, what is necessary that the college or the university should be considered by UGC under 2F and 12B. So therefore both grant-in-aid and self-finance colleges, they can submit proposal to UGC for getting their colleges or universities under 2F and 12B. What is the requirement for this? For universities, that university must have minimum 5 functional departments. For colleges, they should be affiliated to university also. Institutions should be recognized by university also. And then higher, for this you can apply first for 2F and then for 12B, or directly you can apply for both 2F and 12B. So once your college or university comes under 12B, then it becomes eligible to issue grant from UGC or RUSA. And now in National Education Policy, that National Research Foundation, that will be eligible. Apart from our colleges and university, what are the other higher education institutes in India? We have here is National Institute of Importance. So here these institutes of national importance, they are mainly Indian Institute of Science and other 75 institutions. What are these? IITs 23, NITs, ISERs, IIM, then All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So these 75 and that 48 central universities, because they are getting funding from this. So if you look at the total number, say 1,000 343 universities we have. So here we have these about 75 plus about 50 central universities, say 125, they get large amount of grants as compared to the other one. So if you look at the total number of students, say 4 crore and 5 lakh, so about 5% of students are taking admission in these 75 institutions. 95% of students are admitted in state and other universities, public and private and colleges also. But if you look at the fund, maximum share is given to these institutes of national importance and very meager amount is given to other colleges and others. For considering quality, what are the things? Say ranking of higher education institutions, we can have national ranking and international ranking also. In national, we have NIRF, National Institutional Ranking Framework, which was started in 2016, and another is Atal Ranking of Institutions on Innovation Achievements, and it is started from 2019 by MHRD. Now it is Ministry of Education. And as I have told you that NBA and NAAC is also there for assessing and other one. Procedures, they have defined the well procedures for this also. Apart from this, international we have, say Times Higher Educational Global Ranking and QS ranking we have here. So like this we have, but recently, say now, in last week, the Times Higher Education has declared the result for 2022, and there are not, say, everybody was talking that no university from India is ranked, say below 100 or so, but there is no university or even these institutes of national importance below 300 also. So like that, there are problems. Another is QS world ranking. Here these assessments, so NBA is assesses only the programs also, then they have definite program. This NIRF ranking, if you see this NIRF ranking, I have just identified here top 10 universities in India. So Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, then JNU, Banaras Hindu University, Amruta Vishwa Vidyapeetham. This is again a private university. Then Jadavpur University, State University, Hyderabad University, Kolkata University, then JNU, Banaras. These are all central. So there are 5 central universities and only 2 state universities, 2 private universities, and Indian Institute of Science here. On the right-hand side, I have shown you the figures of, say, NAAC accreditation and their CGPA. So point I would like to impress here is, so on one side, if you consider MHRD ranking, then these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. But if you consider NAAC ranking, it varies. Indian Institute of Science ranking, NAAC accreditation is 3.64. JNU is 3.77. But the other one, BHU is only 3.43, other is 3.40. Amruta Vishwa Vidyapeetham, it is like your university, Payar University, it is self-finance university. But if you look at, they have good achievement from 2001 because they last time they were accredited with A grade, but CGPA was only 3.40. And now in August, on August 18, it is again re-accredited 4th cycle and they have got 3.70. So therefore here, for autonomous universities and institutions, if they have good infrastructural facilities, they can get higher grades also. If you look at the global ranking, now this global Times Higher Education Global Ranking, it is declared on 2nd of September, the day before yesterday, and these are the top universities at global level, international level, and these 10, say University of Oxford to University of Chicago, 10th one, these are there. These universities were there last year also, before that also. Only thing is there was a change. Say now 1, 2, 3. Say second is Harvard University, third is California, but both they have the same grade here. So these 3 up to Stanford University, they have retained their number here, ranking here, but the other one, there was some fluctuation in another one. If you look at our Indian universities and institutions also, comparison with global ranking, which is reported now, so there was no institution or university less in first 300, but 301 to 350 only Indian Institute of Science, 351 to 400 IIT Ropar, 401 to 500 IIT Indore, and 601 to 800, it is just IIT Gandhinagar. But 801 to 1000, there are quite a few. So total 12 institutions are there and in all, 89 institutions are seen in this ranking in 2022. If you look at the universities, say between 351 to 400, this is new university, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research. For the first time, it has figured in this Times Higher Education ranking, but it has got very good ranking, 351 to 400. Then 501 to 600, Algappa University and Thapar University. 601 to 800, there are 11 universities, 801 to 1007, and the rest are 1000 to 1200 range, another one. Here, this is again the comparison of this table. Because what are the reasons here? Because people, they call about this one, but what are the reasons? As I have mentioned to you, that student-teacher ratio, it becomes very difficult also. Diversity of students and faculty, it is very difficult. Availability of funds, our institutions, they face problem. Collaborations with reputed institutions also a problematic one. Then academic reputation in society and employer. These are the things, and bureaucracy. For colleges, getting anything from government or university, it becomes difficult. So like that, these are the problems. So now national assessment and accreditation, here we have seen, this is an autonomous body established in 1994 and head office is at Bangalore. And here it started functioning from that day. And it took a long time, maybe up to 1997, 98, they prepared the formats also, how to assess the colleges and accredit them. But it started functioning maybe from 2000. But if you look at the picture now, say up to August, say 10th of August 2021, the last result was declared by on this date. Out of say 1043 universities, 380 universities have been accredited, but we don't know now how many are having valid accreditation. Out of autonomous colleges, we have 850, but 122 are accredited after July 2017. If you look at the colleges, roughly about out of 43,000 colleges, only 8,589 colleges are accredited. And as I have told you that for multidisciplinary institution, all the institutions should be accredited, then only they will be considered. So therefore, almost only 20% colleges are accredited. So we have to improve that number. And for improving this, UGC has introduced this Paramar scheme. And under Paramar, there are other possibilities for increasing that number. Now, this is the picture here, because what happens is NAAC, they revise their SSR, self-ready report criteria. So the criteria was there, say, from 2007 till 2017. And under that criteria, so I have made here the assessment results and the grades. Normally, the colleges and university used to get it. For university, before 2017, say 58% universities, they used to get A grade. After 2017, that has come down to 33%. But now, again, re-revised criteria, which are implemented from January 2020, again, it has increased to 38%. If you look at colleges only at that time, say before 2017, 21% colleges, they used to get A grade, it has gone down to 12%. But now under new criteria, it has increased to 18%. So like that, now there is improvement and the reasons are there. They have made some changes also. Some matrices which are not relevant, they have removed and therefore it is easy. Paramar scheme, I told you that just to increase the number of colleges, they have introduced this. And here, mentor-mentee system. For mentor, the colleges which were or institutions having A+ grade, they were considered for identification as mentoring. So at national level, 167 universities and institution colleges are identified as mentor, and these colleges and universities have identified 936 colleges for mentee. So these colleges, they will submit their SSR maybe by this year, and so that by 1,000, the number will increase and you will have here. NAAC assessment procedure. What happens is the first, especially for new colleges, the colleges, they have to submit the application, because what happens is if the performance is not good, then NAAC guides them that you improve your performance, then only you submit your IIQA and your SSR also. So first thing is, once they become eligible, then eligible we have to have after IIQA we have to submit, and that is institutional information for quality assessment. After this one also, if this is approved by NAAC, then they allow us to submit your SSR and paying fees and other one. And that SSR now it comprises of qualitative and quantitative matrices. Qualitative is 30%, quantitative is 70%, and now confidentiality. Here, so if you look at then how the process works, NAAC assessment, there is a team, peer team. We see that peer team comes in colleges, peer team comes in universities and other one also. For colleges, the peer team consists mainly of 3 members which are from other district than our state because they come from other states and you have here. So 3 members, either pro vice chancellor or director, he is the chairman. And in other 2 members, one is a professor and another is a principal or director of the college or institution like that. So therefore, these are the names again. And initially they used to inform the name to colleges and universities well in advance, at least 1 month in advance. But now they keep it confidential and they inform only before 2-3 days. And travel and accommodation is taken care of by NAAC itself. So therefore, we have to just pay the fees as per the NAAC. And regarding the visits also, about 3-day visit, they inform this college. Chairperson. So these 3 member committees, one is chairman, another is member coordinator, and third one is member also. You see that when the peer team visits the colleges also, people, when they are submitting their proposal for the first time, they are scared because when the peer team will visit, what will be near nature. So they are under tension, so like that. So what we feel that everybody that peer team visit, it should be really cheerful rather than fearful because we should not have any fear in our mind. Second thing is the peer team, they come for finding the fact, not for finding the fault or whatever we have not done. But it is expected that the peer teams, they should encourage whatever effort the college has taken so that they can appreciate it and they can give some valid suggestions also, and we can have something. Then in visit also, the approach of the teacher and peer team member must be polite because what happens is when the peer team interacts with our teachers also, if at some point, if we do not agree with the point whatever mentioned by the peer team, you should not worry too much and intentionally. We should not argue with them rather than because they come here only for 2 days to visit our college. So instead of arguing them politely, you try to explain with them what are your achievements and if they have missed, they will be ready to listen to you also. Peer team members also should be patient listeners because they should listen carefully to all the stakeholders because they meet with different teachers, the non-teaching staff, the alumni, parents. Then they should give good time and good management. Here, what is the assessment process? Now, considering the diversity, I have told you that we have different types of higher education institute here. So therefore, considering this, NAAC has prepared 3 different, say, self-study report format. For universities, they have separate format. For autonomous colleges and autonomous recognized institutions, they have different format. For affiliated colleges and recognized institutions, they have different. For pharmacy colleges, they have different. For college of education, they have different. Then medical colleges or health universities, they have a different format. So like that, whatever is feasible, whatever is suitable, they have different format, but they have in these 3 categories, universities, autonomous colleges, recognized institutions, then affiliated colleges and recognized. 3 stages of assessment here we have. So self-study report we have to submit, then student satisfaction survey simultaneously we will have, and NAAC also interact with the students also and they have their format for this. Then peer team visit to the colleges. So these are the things. So as I have told you that from 2007 to 17, there was one format and from 17, they changed it and they made it qualitative and quantitative matrices. And in the quantitative matrices, there were several problems. As I told you that number of students admitted from other states and other countries. And I told you that in national level also, we have only 50,000 students taking higher education from foreign countries out of 4 crore 5 lakh students. And we have seen that the number is 0.12. So therefore, they have removed it. And for universities, they have kept it. So that is okay. So here, And another thing is quantification of the data, because what are the things, how many teachers, what number of publications, number of projects, all these things, quantity. Then quality of teacher, they said that your teachers must be of good quality, experienced teachers also. And there must be introduction of some new courses, certificate, diploma, add-on courses, soft skill and communication skill, because this is again necessary for all these things also. Then you should have efficient feedback mechanism for quality improvement also. So these are some innovative things they have improved. So innovation and creativity and teaching. So on this basis, they had revised in July 2017, but again, they have revised in December 2019, which are implemented from January 2020. What are the changes? Say from July 2017, if you look at it from July 2017, there are 7 criteria. Now also there are 7 criteria. Then key indicators, again 34, 32 we have here. And in July, we have qualitative matrices and quantitative matrices also here. So 38, 42, then 98, 98, 79. So these are for university, autonomous colleges and affiliated colleges. So if you look at the total number of qualitative and quantitative matrices, it is 137, 136 and 121. And this is for in July 2017. But significant changes they have done. They have removed several. And therefore, now it has become slightly easy to improve the grade and get slightly higher grade as compared to from July 2017 criteria here. So what are the good changes they have made? So some different key indicators they have removed. So now if you look at that UG and PG colleges, now instead of 34, now they are having 31 and 32. Matrices, if you look at it, say for UG, here we have instead of 121, now it is only 93. For PG colleges, instead of 121, it is 96. The change they have made it here for UG colleges and PG colleges separate, because previously in July 2017, all colleges were clubbed together, whether they are having UG postgraduate programs or they do not have. And the problem were faced by colleges is, even if they were not having post-graduation, there were several questions in criteria 3, say research innovation extension, number of projects awarded per teacher, number of publications per teacher and other one. If they do not have, say post-graduation, naturally they will not have their, say research center and other one. So now they have made it separate. Then that qualitative and quantitative I told you here. For qualitative metric, instead of 42, now it is 35, 36, 36. So therefore, they have only 35 and 36, whether it is college or university. And for this qualitative metric says, all colleges and universities, they have to prepare a write-up. They have mentioned about 500 words, 250 words and other one. But it is up to you. You have to precisely, keeping the word intact, 500 or so, you will have to write. In case of quantitative also they have reduced. Instead of 79, it is 58 for UG. Instead of 79, 60 for PG. For university, instead of 99, 79. So now this has helped. It is helping for universities and colleges. But what changes they have made is they have improved some weightages also. Percentage of students from other side, this I told you that they have removed it. So several irrelevant. Say rare book, collection of rare books in colleges, it becomes difficult. If it is UG college, ecosystem and innovation, that also they have removed. Percentage of teachers recognized as PhD guide, they have removed. So like that for UG colleges, now it has become easy for them to improve their grades and other ones. So like this. They have increased the weightages also, because what they want is for improving the quality. Average enrollment of student, initially it was having 10 weightage, now it is 20. So that enrollment should be good, that is the indication. Average percentage of seats filled under reservation category. Initially it was 10, so like 20. So like that, they have made changes in these cases also. Then in UG and PG, what are the changes? The changes are only in criteria 3, research innovation extension and student support and progression. Here, this is again, I have just summarized whatever I have talked to you like this. The weightage is here. See, if you look at it, say 3 types, say university, autonomous colleges and affiliated colleges. Say initially, say in July and other one, 4 criteria, first 3 criteria was having 600 weightage. but the remaining 400, 100 was there. But now they have made a slight change in criteria 3 and 5 for colleges. Otherwise, for colleges, there was, say, curricular aspect, it was only 100 and 350 for teaching learning evaluation. But for university, it is 150, 200 and 250. So good weightage is for research innovation extension. So first is curricular aspect 150, then teaching learning evaluation 200, and maximum weightage is 250 for this. So if it, for universities, we have to collect the data in this format, because this is like a setting a question paper for our regular paper. But in our regular paper, what happens is if it is carrying, say, 80 marks, and if there are 8 questions, we write all questions carry equal mark 10, 10, 10. But here it is 150, 200, 250, then 100, 100, 100. So your answer should be in this fashion so that all documents can support you. Then only it will be easy for you to have higher scores in curricular aspect. First 3, which are more important, you will have to concentrate. Say curricular aspect, again, I have told you that it is, say, qualitative and quantitative. For curricular aspect, the weightage is 150, but out of 150, only 25 for qualitative and 125 for quantitative. For teaching learning evaluation, out of 200, only 52 for qualitative and 148 for quantitative. So therefore, we have to collect the data, quantitative data we can have. Research innovation, again, similar thing. Out of 250, only 23 for qualitative and 227 for quantitative. So more concentration we will have to have collecting the data and other one. Infrastructural facilities, 39, about 40% for qualitative, 60% for quantitative. And student support progression, 93% for quantitative. But qualitative is more again here in criteria 6, governance, leadership and management, about 40%, and 60% is for quantitative. And similarly, for 7 criteria, institutional values and best practices, it is almost 50-50%, 53% qualitative and 47% quantitative. But here, so all the college teachers, all of you or university teachers, you have to look at the say NAAC SSR format, then this weightage is given. And for qualitative, what are the matrices which are considered? For example, curriculum design and development, 20 weightage is there. For qualitative, what are the things covered? So curricular development implemented, whether it is having as per global needs, and it reflected that program outcome, program specific outcome, and course outcome. Here it is up to you. So you can have your syllabus, you define a syllabus and complete all these things. So here it becomes easy to get almost 100% mark if you prepare it properly. Similarly for criteria, 1.3. So here curriculum enrichment, so professional ethics and values, these are all mentioned in UGC guidelines. So you can have this professional ethics, prepare a good booklet and other one, then you can. So here also you can have. So the point in this case is wherever it is qualitative, you will have to prepare a good format. Quantitative, you have to collect the data. Teaching learning evaluation, here as I told you that almost 150 marks for quantitative and only 50 for qualitative. And in this case, so you will have to have. So student enrollment, what is the percentage of students they are enrolled? Then number of seats filled. Then demand ratio, which is also important, because if your intake is, say, at university level, if the intake is 1,000, but how many applications you have received? If you have received 2,000, 3,000, so if the demand ratio is good, say for 3:1, then naturally there also you will get almost full mark. So like that you will have to have. Learning levels, because here the teacher, they make problem, because here immediately after the admission of student, say if it is university, say immediately after admission for our PG courses or for UG courses, if it is for PG courses, immediately you will have to conduct some simple tests for them, or you will have to identify slow learners, advanced learners. And if you prepare a good write-up for this, here also you can get good marks. Then student-centric method, what are the methods which you are using, which are student-centric methods? Whether the teachers are using ICT methods also. And in this case, it depends upon all these things, whether you are taking all proper care for these things. So for each criteria, you will have to look at this, what are the qualitative factors, what are the quantitative one, and you will have to select all these things also. This is again up to 7 criteria have been. But the problems faced by higher education institutions up to now, what happens is in universities and other one. If you do not revise your curricula, because up to you, you will have to say during the period, because it is for 5 years. During the period of 5 years, how many times you have revised the curricula and how it is revised, whether it is 100% revision, 20% partial or complete revision and other one. This you will have to show it probably. Second thing is implementation of choice-based credit system. So it is up to you, it is up to the university. So university can implement. So during the period of these 5 years, even if it is implemented in 4th year or 5th year, still it is good. But it should be implemented for all 100% courses. So here you will get all 100%. Then access to socio-economically disadvantaged students, because what are the benefits you are providing to these students also and these things. So if you have plan. Problem faced again here for colleges also, getting enough number of teachers or qualified teachers or getting grants also for research and other one. There are several hurdles, but here again you will have to have several other things also. So here generation of funds is also equivalent. Teaching learning methods also, teaching learning method earlier, because you will have to talk, you will have to write up here. Earlier, say chalk and talk method, blackboard and other one, whiteboard, other smart board. But now whether you are having LCD, whether your teachers are using LCD projector or they are using all, whether all your teachers are techno-savvy. Initially, when these questions or matrices were asked in NAAC guideline, the answers was variable from 50 to 60 to 70 to up to 80. But now almost all our teachers are techno-savvy, so that answer should be 100%. All our teachers are familiar with this. Our teaching method, they should be innovative. Our teaching method should not be routine, but they should be mechanical. So like in this case, we will have role of teacher is more important in the teaching learning evaluation. Here, expectations of teacher, because in this case, a teacher should make the subject simple so that can provide in some simple example so that it can be reflected in the results also. Because here, if the results are above 85 or 86%, again, you get full marks there. So like that, we will have to concentrate. So looking on one side, you will have to look at the mark, and on other side for qualitative also, what is the percentage, and you will have to have research output. You will have to have say generation of research funds also. You will have to generate funds, and again, you will have to publish your papers also, but your paper should be published at least in UGC care listed journal or some journals which are again peer-reviewed journals. So that will be considered, because what happens in this case is the institutions they write, if it is university, they write say 1,570 publications, but if these are not published in UGC care, then this data goes to InflipNet, Ahmedabad, and then they again scrutinize the data. So instead of 1,500, it comes to about 500 or 1,000 or so. And there we miss the mark. So we have to make it that all our papers should be published in like this. Research output should be in good journal. NAAC grading, you see here, I would like to have, because earlier it was 5-star, then 9-star, but currently we have this 7-star grading. So here, A++, A+ and A, B++, B+ and B. Then C, in C it is having 1.51 to 2. But now I have told you, because here the procedure here, NAAC peer team visit, composition of peer team I have mentioned, and this also, they interact with all faculty members, starting from head of the institution, then IQAC, then interaction with the department. In department, your presentation also should be precise. Departmental presentation should not have more than 20 slides, and maybe maximum 10 to 15 minutes we have to cover here. NAAC assessment, this old system and the new system. Old system, new system composition is same. So maybe for colleges or university, university it depends upon the number of department, number of students, number of teachers, ranging from 5 peer team members up to 10 peer team members also. But the main difference is, say, before 2017 and now what happens is, previously also, whatever number, for example, if there are 3 peer team members, the SSR used to send to these peer team members hard copy before July 2017, whether it is hard or soft, it doesn't make a difference. But what was happening is at that time, they used to go through that report. They used to prepare the formal report also before visiting the institution, and they used to have some grade also prepared individually. So for example, in one case, let us see a college. College, there are 3 members. So one fellow, before visiting the college, feeling that, okay, the college deserves a 2.8. Another fellow feels 2.9. Third fellow feels 2.95. So after visiting the institution, they feel that, okay, college is having good infrastructure or university having is good infrastructure. So they said that, okay, there is slight improvement. And after, say, combining their grades and other things also, if it was coming, say, 2.98 or 99, then now college is unnecessarily missing A grade, because if it is up to 3, 2.99 or even 3.00, then it is B double plus. So the people, because they were human beings also, they used to consider it. So instead of keeping at B double plus grade, say 3.00, they used to put some marks, say maybe some infrastructural facilities or other facilities, say hostels or laboratories and other one. They used to put some 4, 5 or 10 marks, and college they used to get, or university they used to get 3.01 and A grade. Now you will be surprised that there are quite a few colleges where they are getting 2.99, or universities also. One university recently, it was awarded 2.99. One college is awarded 3.00, but it is B double plus. So these are the things. Sometimes, say for A grade, we have 3.01 to 3.25. The college is getting, say, 3.25. If it becomes 3.26, then it goes to be A plus. But it doesn't happen now in this system, because here the system is that quantitative data, 70%, it goes to NAAC. And before visiting the peer team, that data is ready, the document, the marking scheme is with computer section of NAAC. Second is student satisfaction survey. For university, 60 mark, college 30 marks. So that data, that is also with NAAC office. Then peer team visit, we have seen that qualitative only, either 35 or 36, and colleges, they can opt some. So therefore, they can have it there. But in this case, so maybe 35, 36. So the peer team visit, they just give. For example, say curricular aspect, if it is weightage is 20 there, they give just their marking, say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If they give 4 and our basic there is 20, so 20 multiplied by 4, it becomes 80. If they give their 2, 20 multiplied by 2, it becomes 40. So like that, they just give you maybe from 1 to 4, and again it is submitted to NAAC. So immediately, maybe the next day or after a day or two, the result is declared by NAAC. And how it is declared? DVV, quantitative data result, they combine with the student satisfaction survey, they calculate this peer team result, and just by combining, and as I have told you, even if it remains at 3.00, they keep it like that. There is no other mechanism to improve the grade. And therefore, this is the different, and it creates a problem because several like. Role of IQAC is important in all these cases, because that document preparation, as I have told you, I was insisting that here, document should be collected properly, and you will have to read the SSR format of NAAC and SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Because here, if you say that you have introduced some new courses or introduced some certificate or diploma course, there should be a mechanism, whether it was passed by your board of studies, it is passed by academic council, and all the documents also. If you said that your results are 85%, 90%, whether these are signed copy of the controller of examination, it should be there. So all. So you have to check it. SOP, what are the requirements, and you will have to collect it before submitting your SSR, before submitting your IIQA. IIQA is like a synopsis, because once you have a synopsis, in 45 days, you have to submit your final SSR. So like that, all these. How to get expected NAAC grade? Expected NAAC grade, I have told you that once you prepare all this data, then only you can grade higher grade. Otherwise, if there is something less, then there is some problem. Secondly, I would like to advise you that Now it's a cut and paste method because computer is available, and if you find that, okay, say curricular aspect, the first one, there also, because how to have your curriculum delivery, then you mentioned that you use ICT methods and other one also. Then in criteria 3 also, there you mentioned that we use ICT methods and several other things also. So sometimes whatever paragraph you have written in criteria 1, you cut from this also, or you copy from this and paste there also. So it becomes embarrassing for the peer team. So don't do that cut paste type, but you modify and write. So you look at the question carefully and you write your answer for that. Skill development program, whether you have introduced that, you will have to have. Leadership skills or different types of skills you will have to have. Institutional values and best practices, there also you will have to concentrate. What are the best practices? Practices are which add value to human life or support main cause your institution. For example, if there is some improvement in your, say, infrastructural facilities or your mechanism, say payment of salary or payment of, say, stipend to students also, whatever, if it is, that also becomes a best practice. So institutional best practices you will have to identify properly, because initially now it is institutional. Whatever you feel it is good, that is your best practice that you will have here. And one more, in criteria 7, there are 3 things. Say 30 marks are there for best practices and 2 best practices you will have to identify, 15 marks each. And the last is, say, distinguishing features. One aspect you can cover like a best practice, that is for 20 marks. So that 30 plus 20, 50 marks. If you write it properly, there also you get 100 marks. So like that we can have. Institutional values and best practices, so it is up to you. So summary, in short, NAAC grade depends upon all the output of administrative and academic activities carried out by the institution, such as teaching, academic programs, research, then student development, buildings, infrastructural facilities, and all the parameters for your placement and other things also. So the assessment of quality is effective. So effective or IQAC should be really effective in collecting the data and your audit system, internal, external audit by peer team you should do, another. All data should be there with this. NRF if you have submitted, and you will have to have this. Okay, so friends, thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, again, I will be happy to interact with you or solve. Yeah.
Any questions, please, for sir?
No questions.
No questions. Thank you very much, sir, for your useful and informative session and for your time, sir. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah. Okay, madam. Go ahead. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, for your useful and informative session for all of us, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir. Last but not the least, now I would request Professor Seema Kothari, ma'am, Department of Chemistry, to kindly give away vote of thanks.
I feel immense pleasure to take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. I want to express my deep regards and sincere gratitude to Professor K.K. Dave, Honorable President, Paher University, who spared valuable time from his busy schedule to grace this national webinar on standards and procedure for NAAC evolution. I would like to thank our honorable speaker, Professor V.N.R. Pillai, Professor R.S. Mali, and Dr. Devendra Kavde for giving us their valuable knowledge about NAAC accreditation and how to achieve higher grade and overview of NAAC assessment and process. I would further extend my hearty thanks to Professor Hemant Kothari, Dean PG Studies, Professor S.C. Ameta, Professor of Eminence, and Professor Rameshwar Ameta, Dean Faculty of Science, for planning and execution of this webinar. I would take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our registrar, Mr. Sharad Kothari, and other university authorities for their support and confidence in us. He is the backbone of our institution and guiding force for every new step forward. My deep sense of thanks to all the faculty members and participants who were with us and attended this webinar with great enthusiasm, and that has made this event a great success. Last but not the least, let me thank Dr. Rajesh Kanja and his technical team for technical support. In the end, thank you all for being with us today. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And this would call the end of the session. Thank you, every participants, every speaker. Thank you, everyone. And just a special note, certificate and feedback you will get on your email ID, and the link will be available till 5:15 p.m. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation.
Okay, thank you, madam. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Leave meeting.
Thank you to all participants and all organizers. Thank you very much.